From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Jonathan Schaefer at 6:01. With the Titans playing on a short week, the team made several roster moves to help address their injury concerns. The Titans signed defensive lineman Larrell Murchison and linebacker Joe Schobert from the practice squad. They signed defensive back Devontae Harris, kicker Josh Lambo, defensive back Greg Maben, and linebacker Andre Smith to the practice squad. They also placed Caleb Farley on injured reserve. Meanwhile, on their latest injury report, the Titans listed Randy Bullock, Bud Dupree, Ben Jones, Cody Hollister, and Lonnie Johnson Jr. as did not practice. Jeffrey Simmons, Roger McCreary, and Amani Hooker were designated as limited participants. Titans at Packers tomorrow night, 7:15. The kickoff. Lee Company countdown to kickoff begins at 4. The top 5 of the college football playoffs remain unchanged. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, and Tennessee 5. LSU moved up to 6. USC is now number 7. To the ice, the Predators defeated the Wild 2-1. UC Saros 32 saves, Matt Duchene a goal and an assist. Vanderbilt defeated Temple 89-87 in overtime in men's college hoops. And to the NBA, the Pelicans over the Grizzlies 113-102. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition off and running on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here on 104.5 The Zone on game day eve for the Tennessee Titans as they prepare to head to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. We continue to scout the Packers, talk with Rhett Bryan, Ben McKee, and much, much more from inside the Titans locker room with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world!
My name is Will Bowling. Good morning, friends.
Morning.
Morning, Will.
How are we?
We were any better, we'd be Will Bowling.
Oh, that's right.
He said this right.
Must be nice. What's
Listen,
the secret?
I think
I know.
that the time change has positively benefited my life.
Straight
Wow.
up.
It's motivated me to actually go to sleep at like a reasonable hour.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I've only been telling you every day for 3 years.
No, it's fine. But I last night I went to sleep at 8 o'clock. I wasn't asleep at 8 o'clock,
Old
but I
man.
went to bed at 8 o'clock.
You was shutting it down.
First time.
Okay, put on your night robe and got a glass of red wine.
Oh, hot chocolate actually.
I knew it was something.
That's
I
right.
knew it was
Hot
something.
chocolate.
Hot chocolate. Are you really a hot chocolate guy?
Not like a lot.
You've
Every now and
been
then.
talking about it for the last 2 days.
Well, it's because I go through this kick when it gets cold for the first time
Oh.
for like a week.
There it is.
Where I'm like, God, I gotta get some hot chocolate, and then
Okay.
I'll be like bored of it a week later.
You made any crock pot meals too? I remember you bringing that up.
I made some taco soup Sunday night.
Soup. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
that sounds
It
good.
was
Do you
really
put
good.
sour cream on the top?
I'm not a sour cream
Oh,
guy.
I am.
dollop of
A dollop
daisy?
of
I'm not a sour
daisy.
cream guy.
Yeah.
I
You're
think that's
not?
optional. I think sour cream,
Ooh,
you can
I
take it or
love
leave it.
Oh, straight up?
I
Straight
gotta
up?
Because I've
have
had
it.
it with it, but I'm good if it's not there.
I think it needs to go with it.
I got to have it with Mexican food.
With chili.
Oh,
and
really?
chili. Yeah.
Don't you dare snare
See,
your
the-
face up
the
like that.
cheese-
Never.
Cheese has
Never
got to
done
be
that.
there with the chili.
Oh, absolutely.
Sour cream, once in a while.
I'd
The
much
Mexican
rather-
4-cheese blend.
I'd much rather have the sour cream than I would the cheese on chili.
With chili.
Yeah.
I
Not a
probably would
sour
too.
cream guy.
See,
Yeah. I like how it melts.
See
Kinda.
what I'm saying? Absolutely. So what about Petros? You just do straight chili, no cheese, or no sour cream?
I'm okay with the sour cream on top of Petros, but
Okay.
I usually I don't eat all of it. I just mix in a little bit because I just want a dollop.
Okay. All right. That was a good spin.
But I usually
right
do
there.
it with everything but the jalapenos and the olives. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
not an olives guy.
The olives and that because they're cold olives. So I'm like, well, I guess I don't want warm olives either. But yeah, I'm good on
Yeah.
olives in the chili though. I get
Olives
it.
are trash.
Olives
love
and chili.
olives,
It's a pointless
I
food.
like olives, but not in chili.
Yeah, that's
they-
how it is in Petros.
in Petros. Well,
Okay.
it's the option. I don't want to make it seem like you have
You
to
have
get
to.
that. No, Petros. By the way, at that game, Shay, at the Bama game,
Yeah.
I have every intent. The last 3 times I've been to that stadium, get some Petro.
Yeah, you didn't do it last game.
You went a whole season without Petro.
I did.
Ramon.
No.
Fail.
We
You
have to
even said
disband-
you were going
we-
to.
we-
and you didn't.
But the line, man. And then that
that's
game
fair.
was just so
Always.
intense, Kayla. I was just like,
You didn't even think about it.
I
had one Petro this year. It was for the Florida game. I was a bit premature.
did you?
Yeah.
See, I
It
went.
was early.
I still just wanted it. And then I thought about stopping on the way back to Nashville. You know, down Kingston, they have one. And I was
do.
just like, well, dang, we've been in traffic for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Wasting time. I was, God.
That's a hard food to eat while you're driving too. Like while you're in the car, unless you stop there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't eat that and drive.
Oh no,
I
definitely
would've.
not.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I know, I would have too.
Mom
And
said,
it would
"Watch
spilt
me,
on
let
my
me
you know what, and then it
It'd-
would burn it.
Ooh, don't
Not really an
spill it on
athlete.
you know what. Oh, Kayla, we don't want to spill it.
Do I know
Spill
what?
it anywhere, let alone
Speaking-
your new what?
Your seat? I don't know.
Speaking of not really an athlete,
Not really an athlete.
Kevin Byard cracked me up yesterday in the locker room.
What'd
Yeah.
he do?
I just posted it because I forgot he did this. But we were talking to him about, the matchup on Thursday. And I said, the last time y'all went up there was not a great showing because it wasn't. And he was talking about it and he goes, yeah, we pretty much pissed down our leg. And I was like, yes, KB. I was like, I don't know if he meant to do that, but I was just laughing so hard inside. I had to be a professional
Oh, that's
at that
great.
moment.
No,
But I was
that.
laughing. I think he knows what he was doing too.
I'm glad you're professionals in
Okay.
those moments because for 4 hours of the day,
We're
we
not.
try to be as little professional as possible.
You know what's crazy? Most athletes are just regular people. Y'all know that too. So
Yeah.
the same stuff that we look and laugh at, it's the same stuff that they do too.
That's so
You know what I'm
funny.
saying?
Oh yeah.
Toughest part about playing up there. I mean, the last visit there wasn't exactly how you guys wanted to play out. What's the toughest challenge going to Green Bay in that environment?
Yeah, first I don't think they haven't had a lot of home games up there this year so far. So should be a sold out game. That's how Lambeau is. It's gonna be cold. It's a historical place. I think sometimes you go up to those places like, wow, I'm playing on Lambeau Field. Like, I just watch it. You know what I'm saying? One of those type of deals. But it's just one of those things where when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, man, it's always gonna be a tough place to play. And but I think we're super excited for the opportunity, especially to kind of piss down our leg last time we was up there. So we.
He sounds like
great.
Coach
It
Thurman.
He
was
does
like,
sound
wait
like
for
him.
it, wait for it.
Yeah, he set that up also.
You could tell
Hey,
he's
that's
he was
crazy.
standing there doing that interview, and his brain was like, "Don't say it.
I'm
Don't say
watching
it.
his
Don't say it.
facial
Say it."
expressions.
And what he knew.
And he knew he was going to drop it.
It's one of those situations where your brain is, "Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it." Ah, yeah, say it.
That's me. That's me all the time.
Like
man.
Ramon, every time he said, "Can sucky." All right.
Okay.
It's just, or in our group chat where I'm asking the question, can I please tweet about this? I can't believe I'm asking for permission. in our group.
Oh God.
He was like, pretty, please.
Did you want to know the repercussions if you would have done that?
I just wanted to put a shell
Hey,
tweet
I
up.
know where you
So
live.
on the line graph,
I know the
Ramon
gate
Foster
code.
on messing around and finding out, you would have been about a 6.
I know.
On the graph of if you mess around on the x-axis of messing around, then on the y-axis of finding out, you're at about a 6. So
Safe.
if you want to get to this point,
Yeah.
I'm-
Shafe would have pulled up on me. I know he would have,
Yeah.
Kayla. He'd have
Today
pulled
we
up
would
on
have
He
been
me.
like,
knows where
where's
you live.
Ramon at?
wouldn't
I
have
also
been here.
kind of know where you live now too.
Yeah, but in the same sense, y'all get where I was coming from. Like, this
Yes.
oh my gosh, I relish those
did.
type of opportunities. That was good.
Today on the show, we scout the Green Bay Packers and look at Ramon Foster's scout meeting notes on Green Bay, a team that doesn't look the same on offense, yet on defense does a couple of things really, really well and a couple of things very poorly as we get ready for this game tomorrow night between the Titans and the Packers. Plus, Ben McKee today at 8:20. Q's and K's from inside the Titans locker room. More sound as the Titans get back on the practice field yesterday. And Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio in hour number 4.
We got to hit the road today, too.
That's right.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back. I just had that.
Oh, I
like,
thought you was going to finish it, Kayla. I was like, that's going to be a drop. I was waiting on it. You're
already
radio
will be.
pro already. She knew to
Right.
be
I just
quiet.
assume that everything that we say for the foreseeable future will be recorded and used against us in a court of this radio show, courtesy of the judge, jury, and executioner, Jonathan Schaefer. And I made sure that quote was long enough that way you couldn't take that entire one.
You don't even know when it's coming.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I know. I realize
this is why Jonathan Schaefer is referred to by many, not me, but many, as the best producer of the world.
Best producer in the world.
Of the world, Craig. The world.
I'm glad you at least tell me when you're going to drop the Of the World, Craig. From Friday, a movie I definitely know exists. 615-737-1045.
Do you know why I tell you?
Because you don't want me to talk over.
No, because I'm the
Best producer in the world.
Sometimes I hate the power you have. I really do.
Kayla, you didn't finish what you were going to say. I felt like
I was just
punk
singing.
for calling you out. Oh, okay. I thought you was going to go further with that one. I was waiting for more. It's all good.
Just a tease.
Phrasing. Neither here nor there, okay? I loved
pace
Thursday night
ourselves,
game.
aren't we?
I know. We are really into it.
6:12 a.m.
Folgers can't be this strong, man.
Ew.
I know. Kayla, I'm just thugging it
Why
out
are you
right now.
resorting to that?
Because I'm really in like the...
Shots fired at Folgers.
Dang. I used to love how it smelled as a kid, though. And my
Well,
grandma's
yeah.
house, like the instant coffee.
Yeah.
That one smelled so good as a
my
kid.
grandma did that,
She
too.
did?
Mhm.
Must be
Yeah.
an old lady thing.
Would
man.
you
Shout out
argue
to
that it was the best
grandmas.
part of waking up?
It was at the time. I used to sneak coffee, man. That's how bad I was.
Sneak coffee?
Yeah, because the
do you mean?
adults made it seem like it was. You
The ones
shouldn't
you
be
have it?
drinking that. Like now, I don't give my kids caffeinated drinks.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
did you guys start drinking coffee?
Not for a while.
Really?
When I
Yeah,
took
not
this
till after
job.
high school.
In
Really?
NFL.
No, in
Did
high
not.
school, I had all
You
those
did?
fancy like coffee drinks,
No,
but never
uh-uh.
black coffee.
Really?
No, I didn't start drinking coffee till like meetings got long in the NFL.
I
Like,
was in middle school.
Were you
when I started
really?
drinking it. Yeah, a couple weeks back, and when I finished the 7th grade, like I was, like this past spring, it was at field day. Actually, no, it was that, and then when I started routinely drinking it, it was like when I started driving to school. I feel like because I would on my way home, I would get coffee to go like write an essay or like whatever I was doing schoolwork wise after
Man,
practice.
By the way, go ahead.
He was a professor, by the way, back in middle school.
Hardly know.
Just to let everybody.
Listen, for the people that think I'm 40 years old, like no, I was 40 back in high school. Like we're pushing 60 now.
Sally gonna call in if we keep disrespecting Folgers, he said,
Oh
too.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not I have no problem with Folgers. I have a problem with whoever in this building makes the Folgers.
They just set it
I
into
make it
the
a few times.
Yeah, I mean they just set it into the turpentine mode, and that's exactly.
So
it.
what-
Someone that we don't have Folgers. We have nuclear jet fuel that gets made in this building.
Well, with an early
Spot the
morning
lot.
crew, Will, we got to get right.
But
So
the
you're
thing
the
is,
one making it.
But
That's
like
what
the
it is.
people
No, I
making
didn't
the
make this
coffee
spot.
Okay.
are usually in here like after 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean they need jet fuel.
That's fair.
Yeah, Will, come on, man. You got a Celsius over there this morning. That's jet fuel
Every day.
I mean that's
and a
jet
coffee.
fuel.
Every day.
Yeah,
You
that's
gotta
a lot in the morning. My Celsius comes midday.
You feel me?
Midday.
See, I usually go Celsius before the show starts. That way it's like a kickstart, like, hey, we're ready to go immediately.
Right in the veins.
But I started doing it in like hour 2 now.
yeah.
A little bit better.
Let's do that. Like, let's open up a store where we can just inject coffee into our veins.
Oh, wow.
Like the IVs.
They
you
do
know,
have
that
the
you do
IV
for-
stores. You ever had one of those recovery
Yeah.
joints? Oh,
They're so nice. But I can't sit there
I
that
heard
long.
you.
Hate
You
sitting
can't?
that long.
Oh, no. To me,
Drives
it's
me
therapy.
crazy.
Just log off and just needle in my arm and just recover.
Wow. If somebody started listening to this show in the middle of that quote without knowing the coffee
know.
part, they
Well,
would have been
let me
really
tell you this.
concerned.
If you've
my
never
goodness.
listened to the show before and you've listened to just this first segment,
Welcome.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Right? We do talk sports. We promise.
And we will do
Sexual
exactly
innuendos
that.
and drug references. Hey.
We had like 5 of them already.
At 6:15 in the morning. Good Lord. 6:20 this morning. Up next, we scout the Green Bay Packers, taking a look at a different kind of Packers offense with Aaron Rodgers. Q&Ks from inside the locker room. Ben McKee of Go Vols 247 recaps Tennessee's college football playoff ranking and what it means to still be number 5, but still behind TCU and Michigan in the same order. And Rhett Bryan at hour number 4. We scout the Packers. Coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Ask Ramon Fawson, it's time to call QC Kinetics now if that's something you need to do. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Hips, shoulders, knees, back, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents that are highly concentrated. And if you're tired of steroid shots that don't work also, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural approach to treatment that can give you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results, and appointments are available for this coming week. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. Call them today at 615-249-4024. Again, that's 615-249-4024.
day's looking new and bright, and you're gonna start it right. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Yeah, unless you're Ramon Foster. Or me, most days in this building. It's
What a
Ramon,
jingle.
Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, here on 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson.
And you're gonna start it right. Folgers starting to brew. The aroma's calling you. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Mornings are brighter with Mountain Grown Folgers because Mountain Grown coffee has more enticing aroma than any other
The
kind.
best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Yes, that gets me every time.
I wish we just had the music and I could do something like, have you had nuclear jet fuel to start your day? If so, work at Cumulus Nashville, and you too can have the same coffee that fueled the first mission to the moon.
Man, take me back to my grandmama's house right there.
That's the 80s,
all
baby.
Right there.
To jet
I
fuel.
love
Let's
that.
go.
Shout out to the Folger drinkers this morning.
Hardly know her.
There's a video on YouTube that is for an hour long. It's just Folgers jingles. It's obnoxious.
That's awesome.
Well, y'all got what I'll be doing this evening.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
Okay, I am
That's
sorry
not
for
true.
you then, if that's your afternoon plan.
615-737-1045. They don't call him the best producer in the world for nothing. Jonathan Schaefer. We go to the phones, or Michael is in Clarksville to lead us off this morning. What's going on, Michael?
Good morning, RKW, and the best producer in the world, Craig. How y'all doing?
producer in the world.
Oh, the world, Craig. The world.
Y'all know it's coming when I get on the phone.
That's right.
Here we go. We're going into Lambeau. It's kind of crazy because it's the Titans versus the Titans, really. No receivers on either side. Good running game. I think the defense, whatever defense score a touchdown first, I believe will be the winners of the game. But I think we'll go take care of business. I think this is a Derrick Henry kind of game. I do hope that we can run some more offense, tight end sets with Hooper, and I cannot pronounce the other kid's name.
Okonkwo.
Yeah, that. Hopefully we could run some offense with, tight end sets with those two, man, because anytime Okoko gets in the game,
Close.
he runs him over. He runs him over. That kid plays hard, so I don't understand why we're not using him more, because he's an offensive spark. And then Caleb Farley, man, just another wasted pick down the drain. It was talks of, he's young, he's going to heal. I'm like, dude, that's a back injury. One wrong hit or one wrong fall, he's done.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, how many guys do we have in that,
Thank you, Michael.
cutting up right now?
Oh, yep,
You
there
cutting
go.
out right now.
We
Okay.
lost you right at the end there, Michael. But no, I appreciate the call. And
That was a good call, Mike. I appreciate the name pronunciation.
Just
too.
call him Chig. He's okay with that.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. No, Coco.
Coco.
That's
I'm
what
in
he
love with the Conquo.
I did not see that one.
I thought you was
coming.
going to say the
I
other
did
song.
not-
but
Oh, no.
I thought he was going T-Pain route
Right?
right there.
I'm a radio professional. What are you talking about?
Okay, never mind.
So it's a good point because the two tight ends are going to have to continue to be a bigger part of this offense.
Yeah.
And when you look at this team, Ramon, you really are looking at a version of the Titans and a team that plays in a similar way. The difference is instead of being a very good run defense, they're a great pass defense.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that, Ramon, too, is that in their 5-game losing streak, a lot of teams are just running the football on them to run the clock out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and that entire offense allows Kansas City to be really good against the run because they're winning so many games.
Yeah.
When you lose 5 games in a row, people are going to run the football on you a lot in the fourth quarter, up by a couple of scores.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the pass defense look a little bit better and the run defense look a little bit worse for this Green Bay team.
No doubt about it, man. And they got to find a way up off of this skid. And for those reasons, Will, That's why I look at the Titans and say you have to take advantage of it. You have to do the same thing in the sense of controlling the clock. If Aaron Rodgers gets hot, then you're in a position like, okay, how do you defend that? We don't know what the bodies and health is going to look like this weekend. Of course, also been in a position where it's a little bit colder. I know guys get warm and stuff like that, but it's a road game. Aaron operates different at home. He looks at the ref and somehow a flag drops out of the pocket. Yeah. Am I right? Mm-hmm. The run game is how you win this game, man. My guy Todd Downing is going to be on top of this and for sure lead this charge when it comes down to the run game. This will be fascinating to see against this team, as our guy KB said earlier. You know, last year it kind of pissed down their legs.
A couple years ago. Remember, that's a game where they had barely any fans in there.
It was. That was also Ryan Tannehill's long run that he had on the pool.
Third and 1.
Yeah.
First drive of the second half.
Yeah.
Seems like years ago, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to say Downing is going to be the genius for putting that game plan together there, Ramon. I would think that just would be Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry things like he's expected to do.
You're right.
The fact that Ramon is still leaning into this my guy Todd Downing thing is just, it's not great.
Well,
it's not great.
Todd deserves nice things, too.
Oh, goodness.
I'm here for that.
So when you look at the Green Bay Packers and Ramon's notes from scouting them on the film yesterday, 40% third down offense.
Yeah.
And their red zone offense scores touchdowns 51% of the time. 25th in the league in points scored. 31 points, their highest scoring total of the year in overtime. In the win over the Dallas Cowboys. What stands out to you the most about why they are not as dynamic throwing the football, Ramon, for this Green Bay team?
They haven't been able to establish a guy. You have Sammy Watkins that's been in and out of the lineup. They have a bunch of young guys that don't know how to catch from Aaron Rodgers, too. And I know you were just saying don't know how to catch like that. That quarterback wide receiver chemistry is so crucial, like finding your guys. One thing we always spoke about when it come down to Tannehill and the guy that's in Philly, right, is like, oh, man, they had a chemistry. You develop that. Losing Devontae this past offseason was a bigger knock, even though he's not being utilized much in Las Vegas, for Aaron Rodgers than almost anything else. I think they want to establish the run better than they actually have. And this is the thing, too, that when it comes down to what they are as an offense, they have had, I think, 3 games of 200-yard runs, okay? When it comes down to how they operate on offense. I feel like they want to go with the ground game, but for the most part, they haven't been able to. The games that they have won or at least gone into overtime and tied, Chicago, 203 yards rushing. New England, 199 yards rushing in a win. They lost to Buffalo, 208 yards rushing that game. And then this past game, 207 yards on the ground against the Dallas Cowboys in overtime. They want to be able to establish the run because they don't have any chemistry. This past game, though, will. Christian Watkins, Watson. I think, who was Watkins? Randy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins.
Randy Watkins.
He's on there, too. It was Randy Watson.
Yeah, Sammy
I know. Either way, he emerged. That's where I do, kind of say to myself, as a Titans fan, you got to look at this game and say, with him emerging this past game, it seems to me A-Rod found a guy. And when you got one, everybody else falls to the wayside. I'm going to him and everybody else eat after him. Mm-hmm. If they put Christian Fulton on him this weekend, if he's available and everything healthy,
right?
That's where I question, are they going to be able to cover him or not? They got creative with him. He basically, and the commentators couldn't stop saying enough, he outruns everybody. And Aaron Rodgers loves that ball. It's the same thing that Devontae did. Spread everybody else out and find Devontae. And this is where it can cause a big issue for this team.
Yeah, I brought him up a lot yesterday. Yeah. To not only Mike Vrabel, but several of the players, and just his type of a breakout game. And what I will say about this, though, is you can compare this Titans defense to the Green Bay Packers and say it's similar. No, the Titans play with something different on defense. They take everything, I guess, personal.
Yeah.
The way that I see them play out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a good job with some of these rookies this year that have emerged. They've done a pretty good job of shutting them down for the most part.
Yeah.
We've talked about this on other teams, like rookies that have had big games or good starts to the season.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy who, let's remember, has had a lot of drops this season, has made some mistakes. I don't know if his body of work is proven yet to be that worried about him, but he is somebody now that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's not like he had a touchdown in 100 yards. I mean, this guy balled out.
He balled out.
But whether or not that can be consistent is another story. But that's on their radar for sure, Ramon.
And then the other part about the receivers too, Will, they've just been dropping the ball, Kayla. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just hadn't caught the ball. And Aaron Rodgers is a guy, though, if you watch him, and we've all seen him and how magical he can be on the field, he will move around and trying to find the open guy. Like, I put in my notes, he was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes was doing these types of things. You know, we looked at Aaron Rodgers like, oh, my God, find another one. Well, that other guy's in Kansas City right now with his ability to create. Thing is, Aaron, as of late, has had issues with his OL, 20 sacks on the season, and just the ability to find who's his one. Hasn't been able to do that this year up until maybe this last
Quick
game.
question, Will. Is Randall Cobb, Tennessee's own, Randall Cobb, he's activated off IR, right? So we just don't know if he's going to be available.
Yeah, I think it's a week too soon for him. We'll see. Shout out Alcoa Tornadoes in East Tennessee.
They have the Tornadoes?
Yeah.
Oh, I did
That
not
was the
know
school
that.
I called games for in college.
Did not know they were the Tornadoes.
No kidding. You called games for them.
Yeah, I did Alcoa games
so
for 2
he's
years.
probably all over the place there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. They love him. It sounds like it's a game too early for him. The other Knoxville receiver they had that they just cut yesterday, Amari Rogers, former Clemson Tiger, former Knoxville Catholic receiver, has 5 fumbles this season, which is the most of any non-quarterback in the NFL this year.
Moan got cut on his day off.
Yeah, he said bye-bye.
Including a couple of muffed punts, another muffed punt that led to a Cowboys touchdown on Sunday. So not only did that cause him to lose his job as the punt returner, it caused him to lose his job. I remember that's a guy I wanted to be in Nashville 2 years ago.
Same.
As a third, fourth round receiver.
Second round pick, wasn't he?
Third.
He was a third?
Yep.
Even
And they moved up to get him. Green Bay did.
That's crazy.
he was supposed to be Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
No,
was
he's a
supposed
little
to
bit
be
smaller than Randall, isn't
But
he?
that was the role he was supposed
Sure.
I'm saying the role.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead, they just kept Randall
Just
around.
got
They just brought
Randall
him
back.
Yeah, it's honestly,
Oh, that sucks.
he will get another opportunity somewhere with the talent that he has. And yes, there will be a lot of people, 22nd pick in the third round officially in the 2021 draft. But that's another early pick for Green Bay that's cut 2 years into his career.
And they just lost Rashawn Gary for the year, too.
And we'll get into that defense that looks a bit
that's
different.
big.
But you mentioned the rushing offense and what they're able to do on the ground. It really is not what you expect. When you think about Green Bay, you always think about Aaron Rodgers and the checks at the line, the dynamic throws that he is able to make. Offensive line has given up 20 sacks this season. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are very different runners. You've got to prepare for 2 very different kinds of backs. And I'm not sure there's another team in the NFL right now, Ramon, other than really the Titans. Cleveland as well. I was going to say that has 2 backs that are so different.
Oh, different.
That play that much because you couldn't get 2 more different guys as a 1A and 1B between Gillen. Jones and Dillon.
Yeah, and that's the thing about you really get a thunder and lightning in it. Like, and the thing about Aaron Jones is the fact that he's dynamic in the passing game too. You know, you get a guy, Aaron Jones, he will go to the A-gap and just break out also. But when A.J. Dillon comes into the game, it's bruising. It's nothing more. He want to drag a player or 2 down the field. And the way they split them up, too, is as even as you can ask any offensive coordinator to be, man. A.J. Dillon has Aaron Jones has 131 carries. A.J. Dillon has 111. Okay. That's really splitting it right there from a guy that got paid, last offseason, and Aaron Jones. Like, he's still splitting reps at a high count when it comes down to their style of play. You have to get your mind right when A.J. Dillon comes into the game. Like, as good as this Titans defense is at stopping the run, we may possibly see more A.J. Dillon than we see Aaron Jones.
Yeah, in this type of game, you said.
Yeah. That's a short week. They want to slow walk this thing down. They do run the ball way more, as you said a second ago, Will, than I ever would have thought they would, just looking at their stat line and their yards. I didn't expect it, but when you got 2 dynamic guys like this, why wouldn't you?
The interesting thing is, from the Titans' perspective, and Mike Herndon on Twitter puts this out the other day. He does a great job covering the Titans and having nuggets like this. Titans have allowed an NFL low 427 rushing yards since week 3. Ooh. That's 61 yards per game.
Yep.
The next fewest rushing yards allowed in that time is the 49ers with 609 rushing yards allowed. The Titans' run defense has allowed 200 fewer yards than the next best run defense in the NFL since week 3. And if that run defense shows up tomorrow in Lambeau, you feel good about your chances.
And there's nothing telling me that run defense isn't going to show up for the sheer fact that we've already seen guys get hurt. I think last week was one of the biggest blows you could see to their defense with 5 starters missing. So I feel like that's just something that they've found consistency with.
They have. I'll say this as we're up on the break, Will. The Titans have to out-tighten the Green Bay Packers this weekend, to the point I think you already said earlier, too, simply because this offense this year for the Packers is set up to push the running game and then play action you to death.
615-737-1045, the number. When we come back, we continue the conversation by taking a look at the Green Bay Packers defense and a run defense that is not very good, and in yards per attempt, they're even worse. But what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses of this Packers defense that awaits the Titans in Lambeau Field tomorrow night? We continue Scout Meeting Wednesday next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon Foster for Window Nation, and get ready to have a blast of winter. Yes, the next brutal blast of wicked, wild, and windy weather is on its way, and the only thing going down is the temperature. You guys know, like I know, the cost is up, inflation is up, and projections say your winter heating bills will reach a 10-year high, but you can cut energy bills by up to 30% and increase your home's value and get amazing savings if you call Window Nation today. Listen to me. You can get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy with no interest payments until 2025. You can block out even the smallest drafts. Listen to me. Keep your energy bills lower despite their ever-rising costs. And with 0% interest financing till 2025, you have plenty of extra cash for the holiday spending, which I know y'all are about to go do on Black Friday. Make your home truly warm and comfortable and inviting. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or go online to windownation.com, where, again, listen to me slowly. Get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy with 0% interest until 2025. It's a rhyme. It should be locked into your head right now. The number is 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com and tell them that Ramon sent y'all.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Okonkwo. We're just going to make this a thing. Every time he has a big catch, we play this song.
Hey.
With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling, 615-737-1045.
I got it for Okonkwo. I'm in love with Okonkwo.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. That flows.
That was it right there.
On 104.5 The Zone TV, I've been banned from singing along, so if you're wondering why I'm not joining in on this bit I've created,
it's because
the people.
I actually would have liked to have heard that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Me too.
Thanks.
I was looking forward to that.
You let them bully you around, Will?
No, Will.
No, I'm just trolling them.
Never in my life.
As always.
I'm trolling them.
It's a one-segment protest. It's a silent protest, except it's not silent because I'm actively talking literally right now. So.
Currently.
Yeah, that's right. When you take a look at this Packers defense, continuing scout meeting Wednesday, Ramon, number 26 in the league against the run.
Yeah.
Number 28 in yards per attempt at 4.8 yards per carry. We mentioned that a lot of that is just the nature of the games that they've been in. And when you lose 5 games in a row, teams are going to be running the football against you towards the end to run out the clock on a win. But this defense has really missed Rashawn Gary. And you mentioned his injury. 12 quarterback hits and 6 sacks. Preston Smith, 10 quarterback hits, 3.5 sacks. No one else on this defense with double-digit quarterback hits this season.
No, absolutely not, man. They're a team that kind of transitioned a little bit. They ended up trying to put in a bid for, what's his name, that ended up going to Minnesota just to get some help. I forget his name. Never mind. Former Baltimore Raven. And they couldn't end up getting him to. Quay Walker, though, the rookie out of Georgia has been a big highlight for them, but he's just playing a role. He's just doing everything that he possibly can. They don't have the big guys up front that they're used to having to stop the run also, Will. The pass rush has kind of been lacking. Sean Gary caught on, but again, and on the back end too, Jair Alexander being a guy that, look, either you go at him and get an interception or you pick on the other guy, and that's what they have been doing also when it comes down to the secondary. There has just been no cohesion. Preston Smith is a guy on the front line that will try to bully you, but everybody else you just kind of yawn at.
Certainly.
Rashawn Gary didn't, and he led the team with 6 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he out.
And also, fun fact on him, this kid was the number 1 player coming out in his recruiting class at the time.
He was. I remember it well.
And then ended up being the 12th overall draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was 12th overall.
A little bit of a later bloomer.
He was.
In the NFL.
And this is the year that he absolutely needed to.
This was him playing up to the potential that recruiting services saw from him in high school.
He proved to be that guy, man. Yeah. And I think it was Achilles that he ended up having.
Because the 3 guys that came out of high school, there were like 3 years in a row where you had edge rushers who were the number 1 players in the country, and it was Rashawn Gary, Deshaun Hand, and Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys, like really in 3 consecutive years, were these just like athletic freaks coming out. And really, none of them have become what they were supposed to be in the NFL.
And also, another part of it, too, they end up losing some leadership with Devondre Campbell being out a little bit. Their coach said he's day-to-day with him coming back playing linebacker. So they have suffered some with injuries. But you know what they say. People either glad you got your problems or don't care you have them.
I still just don't. I know that there's teams that are comparable to the Titans, but 2 years in a row with the amount of Titans injuries and the way that they've been able to hold it together. Because isn't part of that, too, holding it together as a team in terms of, like, I feel like blame starts to kind of set in when you're losing games and everything. And that locker room in Green Bay just doesn't seem as cohesive as the Titans do with all their problems they've had.
And that starts with number 12.
I was going to say
it starts with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy held the organization hostage over the offseason and let everyone know that everything was going to be based on his terms. And now when they are bad, because he's bad, well, they go down because of him, because it's on his terms. When they're good, it's because he's not throwing as many interceptions like he did in Detroit, and they're going to be good on his terms. Like, yes, this is a running offense. This is a ground and pound Packers team, but this team still goes as Aaron Rodgers goes, and he has been much more turnover prone these past few weeks than he ever has been before as well.
Turnover ratio for the Packers -5.
That's rare.
Yep.
It was funny reading some stuff out of Green Bay yesterday. They end their 5-game losing streak. They were on the doorstep if the Cowboys just kick a long field goal in overtime of their first 6-game losing streak since 1988. Think about that.
Wow.
How many teams have had 6-game losing streaks? And how many teams have just started 0-6
Wow.
in their own division? The Lions have started 0-6 like probably 5 times the last 10 years.
While having a franchise-like quarterback
Right.
like Aaron Rodgers.
So since 1988, they avoid that, and all the things I read or listened to yesterday, and in looking at the Packers was, all they needed was just Mike McCarthy to come back and things to go back to normal. Mike McCarthy come back to town with the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday.
He also gave that game up too, going for it on fourth down the way he did. So of course he did Mike McCarthy like things.
He did.
So,
Mike McCarthy liked things, and Dallas Cowboy liked things.
I'll say one thing that this is always, the Titans have gone up there, haven't had success in Green Bay, and the Packers have won 9 straight on primetime games at Lambeau.
See,
9 straight primetime.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this is the one that they're not able to get.
Don't let Aaron get hot. The times in which they've lost, you see him with his face in the friggin' dirt, pouting on the sideline.
I love those shots.
Oh my gosh. The one where he just laid face flat like a few weeks back, you're just like, he's defeated. But to your point a second ago, it's to his own undoing, Will.
Well, and nationally, when you look at the conversation about the Packers and the Buccaneers, it's so funny how many national people are like, well, both teams are still going to be contenders.
Yes.
And I was listening the other day to Westwood One Monday Night Football at halftime, and Michael Smith, who's on the Amazon broadcast, said, I just feel like maybe this year for Green Bay, it's just a different formula. Like usually they start fast and then they slow down. Maybe this year they just start slow and then they speed up. Like, no, it's really not.
Well, but you know why, though?
Well, it's because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're known commodities. They're 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Sure.
So they're always going to lean into what previously happened with these guys.
But
at least
that
Tom's
guy-
somewhat turning it around.
Right.
Yeah.
That guy wearing number 12 is not Aaron Rodgers in that huddle. Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's not the same guy.
But here's the thing. He might be in 2 weeks. Because he has been before.
I'm not going to bet on it, though.
That's fine. But that's where I understand what you're saying in terms of those commentators. But the thing is that so many times previously, he's a known commodity. He's somebody that has been able to cash in before. So they're going to lean on those guys and say that they're the GOATs until they're not.
The thing is, he's playing with more unknown commodities than he ever has before.
Agreed.
And David Bakhtiari's not healthy.
Why is he doing that, though?
Because he held them
He didn't put
hostage.
in the time.
Yeah, exactly. He'd have known him had he been around his teammates, but
Right.
that's neither here nor there. Also, Jair Alexander is, I put in my notes, developing an island type of play. He's got 10 pass deflections with 3 picks this year. Throw at him if you want to.
Revis Island?
Yeah, he's getting there.
Yep, he's pretty
Alexander Island is where he's at.
615-737-1045, the number. After this, we look at the Titans roster moves made yesterday and the good news from that injury report, the status of Jeffrey Simmons, who might be another day closer to being on the field tomorrow in Lambeau. We'll run through that in hour number 2, coming up next on our Mode, Kayla and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Craftsman on the Hill, the best bar located in Hermitage, Tennessee. The address, if you need to know right now, and I'll tell you a little bit later, it's 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. Listen to me. One of the best means around that take bar food to an all-new level, featuring their delicious smoked wings. And I've told you before also, it's getting cold outside and you need something to warm your insides up pretty good. They're serving smoked brisket chili every single day. It is really one of the best things I ever had. We were speaking about chili earlier today on the show, and guess what? Go get you some of that brisket chili, slow smoked, and then just put together in a well made out sauce. I'm telling you, amazing. Every night of the week, they have a different theme for you. Monday night's trivia night, Tuesday karaoke. There are poker tournaments throughout the week. Listen to me, the perfect place to support your college team on Saturdays and the two-tone blue on Sunday. Plenty of TVs to watch your favorite sports. Is locally owned and operated with new management. Listen to me, you get your favorite beer, spirit, and plenty of nightly drink and food specials. Monday through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Craftsman on the Hill, located again, 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage, Tennessee.
From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Jonathan Schaefer with the Titans. Playing on a short week, the team made several roster moves to help address their injury concerns. The Titans signed defensive lineman Laurel Murchison and linebacker Joe Schobert from the practice squad. They signed defensive back Devontae Harris, kicker Josh Lambo, defensive back Greg Mabin, and linebacker Andre Smith to the practice squad. They also placed Caleb Farley on injured reserve. Meanwhile, on their latest injury report, the Titans listed Randy Bullock, Bud Dupree, Ben Jones, Cody Hollister, and Lonnie Johnson Jr. as did not practice. Jeffrey Simmons, Roger McCreary, and Amani Hooker were designated as limited participants. The top 5 of the college football playoffs remains unchanged. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, Tennessee 5, LSU up to 6, USC is 7. To the ice, the Predators defeated the Wild 2-1. UC Soros 32 saves, Matt Duchene a goal and an assist. Vanderbilt defeated Temple 89-87 in overtime in men's hoops yesterday. And to the NBA, Pelicans 113, Grizzlies 102. For all foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, rolls on 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. He's the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world!
Making the show happen for us this morning on the phone lines at 615-737-1045 as we take a look at a Titans injury report that looked better yesterday while still long, and that's because Jeffrey Simmons back on the practice field for the first time in 3 weeks, a limited participant yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park. Music to the ears of Titans fans listening to the sound of our voice this morning.
No boot. We saw him walking in back of us while we were doing the pressers outside before we go in the locker room, and he walked by, and everybody's looking to the side to make sure there was no boot. No boot. And he talked to us yesterday.
He did.
A little bit of an encouraging sign, but you can never predict with those.
They've got Vrabel-isms. They're very just, nope, you're never going to know.
They're so good at it.
And Rhett always talks about this when we mention guys who are hurt and have that first day back. Today's report for Jeffrey Simmons will be very telling just based on how the ankle responds to being a limited participant at practice for the first time in a few weeks.
And that wasn't, let's make this clear, it was not like a full-on practice where they were in pads, and that's not how it was. Because this is a shorter week, it's just they've had to kind of, I guess, whittle it down a little in terms of what they're doing. Understandably so, because these guys are still tired from Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
The players who did not practice yesterday, Randy Bullock, which is a little bit of a concern.
Yep.
Bud Dupree, Caleb Farley, which he'll now be taken off that injury report as he is officially on injured reserve with a back injury. Cody Hollister, Lonnie Johnson, and Ben Jones again.
Yeah, Ben Jones also, I would probably say that's going to be an interesting one. I asked Vrabel about it yesterday, and he said, I first and foremost wanted to know, exactly, made sure, was it in the game that it happened? Because nobody saw it happen.
Right.
And so it did happen in the game, but he did not clearly come out of the game. So now the big question is he going to be ready? Both Tannehill and Vrabel said he was feeling better yesterday when they talked to him.
Okay.
But again, we don't know the timelines for concussions. We talked about it yesterday. I just feel like that's a short amount of time to be ready after a concussion.
It is. Definitely is. Jeffrey Simmons, we mentioned upgrading him from did not practice to limited participation yesterday. Amani Hooker, the opposite, goes from a full participant on Monday in the estimated walkthrough to being limited yesterday. Full participants, though, a lot more of them yesterday. Tadeko Autry and Derrick Henry back from their rest days on Monday. Aaron Brewer, full participant. That's a good sign.
Oh.
David Long, full participant. That's a great sign for that defense. Kevin Strong, Ryan Tannehill, full participant at this point. So they're going to continue to just monitor that ankle and make sure that he's slowly getting back up to full practice speed during the week. And then we also mentioned Elijah Molden with a little bit of a groin issue. We're going to hear the sound from him and our Q's and K's coming up in a minute as Kayla talks with the Titans in the locker room yesterday. But a scare for Elijah Molden that ultimately is not going to be a huge issue for him, it sounds like.
That was so relieving. That I saw him sitting over there yesterday, and we talked about this. I think Ramon said that there's been times where an injury, you could think at first it was more serious than it is, and then it ends up being not that bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with Elijah. I'll let you listen to the sound in a minute, but just a really good sign that he's probably going to be back out there because Amani is also looking to be available.
That'd be huge right there.
It's the healthiest the Titans secondary has been all season.
Yeah.
Lonnie Johnson, the one guy who's out at this point, he was brought in to help replace Elijah Molden while he was out. If you have a secondary going into this game with Fulton, McCrary, and Molden at corner, Hooker and Byard at safety, and Andrew Adams coming in as that third down threat, that third down guy, you feel really, really good about where your defense is.
Yeah, you do. Also considering the team you're going up against this week, not really having guys like that, you know what I'm saying? You really just make them one. I ain't going to say you make Green Bay one-dimensional, but you really put them in a box to say, if you guys are really that good at the run game, now it's time to show it. Because to our knowledge, they have one dude. Sammy Watkins, I will say this, though, did have 3 targets, 3 catches past week in his return this past weekend. Whether he's going to be a threat or not, who knows? Because again, that being on the same page with Aaron Rodgers seems to be something they can't get together in a sense. So
sure,
the more the better this week in the secondary for the Titans.
I'm liking the trend.
Roger McCreary was limited again yesterday with a calf problem. Hasn't missed practice. It just has not been a full go yet. So he might be the biggest concern now out of all those guys.
Yeah, and I talked to him fully yesterday, too. I mean, he was fully engaged. You can't always read anything from that. I've been impressed with how available he has been this year. I mean, he hasn't really been out of any games, so hoping that does not go in the different direction. I don't know with calves. I have no idea how intense a calf injury is because Are you laughing over here?
I'm laughing because I'm just like, I'm looking at some of the injuries that the small guys have.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, calf injury.
I'm like, growing, can't relate. We don't move that fast in offensive line. Calves, no, we barely got calves. I'm just like, oh, now a back
Too
issue.
many calf races to try to make them,
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Like when I do those heavy days with calves.
Exactly.
Like, I did them yesterday, and I woke up today like, calves are a little bit sore.
Like, seriously, look at the stuff that they have going on, like shoulders. Well, offensive line and D-line shoulders are always hurt. Like, Amani, get out there. You okay?
Spoken like a true offensive line.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is the number this morning. We go to Angel in Clarksville next up on the phones. Good morning, Angel.
Hey, what's going on, Ramon, Kayla, Will, and the best producer in the world, man. Tighten up.
The world.
The best producer in the world.
Hey, best producer in the world. Look, I just a couple things real quick, man. When is the Titans going to start looking at Chig as a maybe possibly a starter, man, and maybe bring in Austin Hooper or split, some of them one tight end set to maybe bring Austin Hooper more on the 2 tight end because, man, Chig is that man a nightmare, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That man, especially on them slants that come across the field, that man is a straight up dog.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, you remember how people would ask you, or you ever been asked, if you could speak to one person, dead or alive, past or present, if you could sit down and just have a conversation with them, I used to say it was Jesus, but now I say it's Todd Downing, man, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the horse ain't dead yet. The man is alive.
Come on.
Kicking. And I just want to ask him, bro, what are you doing on 3rd and 3, man? Come on, bro.
Come on. You can't be on here just dogging my guy like this, man. You know where I'm at with Todd.
Look, man, and then Will, if you just now tried the Tahiti treat, man, you need to go get your peach.
A peach what?
hang up and listen, man. Love y'all. I said if you just tried a Tahiti treat not too long ago, you need to get you a peach Faygo next, man. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Thank you,
man.
Angel.
Y'all take it
Appreciate
easy,
the call.
Man. Tighten up.
Yeah.
You got a list there you got to try, William.
Tighten up.
He said,
What?
if I could talk to one person, I used to say
yeah.
Jesus, and now
No,
it's Todd Downing.
That's a
There will be no Todd Downing slander on this radio show. Y'all
then
hear
yes,
me?
there will be.
All the Todd
There will be.
Downing
How many
slander.
hours we have left?
I can't believe y'all. Who was that just called a second ago?
It's Angel.
Angel.
a great call.
Angel.
Hey, he's godly. What are you talking about?
Oh, Angel talking to Jesus. Okay, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Angel, you keep on, you're gonna get struck down. You hear
He
me?
says he doesn't. He don't want to talk to Jesus anymore, but he wants to have a come to Jesus meeting with Todd Downing.
Y'all get up off my dude.
And Ramon will be his bodyguard right there at the door.
I'm talking about hands crossed
Yep.
like this. Just talk to me.
Where are you? The
Talk
way
to
that you are.
us.
Yo, it's DA right here.
Yeah.
Downing Advocate.
Downing Advocate. There we go, man.
Josh
Tell
in
y'all.
Nashville up next at 615-737-1045. Good morning, Josh.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Man,
Morning.
how do you go from meeting Jesus to Todd Downing? That's woo. But anyway, no, I just wanted to get you guys' take. I know you hit it earlier. What you think about our pass rush? Because, kind of thinking through our secondary to where we're not giving up kind of big plays because, we are playing Aaron Rodgers, who's pretty good quarterback still in his golden years. And Will, I think you guys got a new plug where everybody's, how you doing? You'd be like, oh, I'm just chilling.
I'm just chilling.
I'm just chilling.
I like it.
I love it, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Josh.
the call.
Appreciate
Josh.
it. We'll do that on the other side because the health of that group is at a different place now, but just the skill sets of those players.
Of which ones?
The secondary.
Yeah.
Secondary, okay.
Are different enough to where you could do a lot of different things as you continue to get healthier on the defensive line. So let's break down that group. Let's hear from the Titans locker room. Our Q's and K's coming up next as Kayla Anderson goes inside the Titans locker room to talk with guys that are on the mend and rookies making their first trip to Lambeau Field. On the other side, of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. And look, do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers a little bit? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Do you even have just wall switches that don't seem to work? These seem like very simple things, but they are not do-it-yourself projects. Don't just make it worse. Call the professionals at Lee Company because dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional. Call the pros at Lee Company. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off your next electrical service call. That's $20 off your next electrical service call, whether it's light fixtures, an extra outlet or two that you want installed somewhere, maybe in the living room or in the bedroom, wall switches that don't work. Call Lee Company at 615-567-1000 or go online at leecompany.com. $20 off your next electrical service call, 615-567-1000. Lee Company, all you need. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling on the phone lines at 615-737-1045 as we go inside the Titans locker room. Q's and K's with Kayla Anderson, the only capital J journalist that we have or need on this show.
That'd be too boring.
And a good one. That's right.
I know she's covering for me on the capital J. I'm more like
cursive,
cursive
underscore or cursive smaller.
More like
lowercase.
text J. That's me. Text J.
Chalk.
Chalk J.
Chalk J.
Yeah, with my Chalk J.
Comic
journalism.
Sans text.
I joke about it, but I actually enjoy that aspect of this stuff. Like if I had to report on stuff, it's actually the research is always pretty cool.
I mean, we've broken a few stories on this show over the years.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Breaking Titans news.
We used that the other day.
Huh?
We used that the other day.
Yeah, we did.
Not
We
for
absolutely.
journalistic purposes.
Yeah, we didn't do it seriously.
I know.
That was for a lowercase journalist moment.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was
it
lower.
was.
Comic Sans J for Ramon Foster.
All letters in lowercase. in
That's
that
right.
situation.
100%.
So, Kayla, let's start with Jeffrey Simmons and what he had to say about feeling a little bit better and getting ready for Lambeau Field and Thursday Night Football. You had the chance to catch up with him, and we'll kind of start there of just his status and his mood in the locker room yesterday.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm still, trying to work through a lot, but, I'm feeling better, like I said, and, we always joke about it, but it's amazing what you don't, how much you feel better when you're not playing football. But it's not something that I wanted. I really wanted to be out there, especially Sunday, playing against a team like that. But like I said, I trusted the plan, and like I said, I'm feeling better today. So we're gonna work through a couple stuff today, and hopefully I can get into that game on Thursday night.
Was there a particular play in that Kansas City game that agaggravated it? Like late in the game?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but football. You have that type of mindset just to play through the small things, and sometimes it just get aggravated a little more than what it was. So I think the plan that I was on this past week.
Okay, so that was Jeffrey Simmons yesterday talking about, kind of coming back from that ankle injury where he didn't play last year. He did not have the boot on yesterday, which was a positive sign. He talked to us for a good 5-10 minutes. That was just a little portion about how he's feeling. But as you can tell, you can't pull a lot from that because he wants to be out there. But then you took the whole thing from you don't realize how much it. You realize how much you put your body through when you're playing almost every Sunday. And just to have that one Sunday off could help.
Telling you, legitimately on a Tuesday, a guy probably is in a boot, and by Friday, you're like, man, how did I heal up so fast? The spirit of competition kind of does it for you. And honestly, it seemed like to me, Jeff was protected from himself this past weekend. More than anything. It seemed like Vrabel made a call like, nah, Jeff, this one, sit it out. We will handle this, and they did, man. So I think it gives more confidence to the guys that filled in for him for the overall defense. So, look, we can go do our part. You had a few guys getting multiple sacks or sacks and a half this past week because he wasn't in.
Yeah.
I think that's the growth, especially on a short week like this where you need guys, you need bodies to be able to handle what Green Bay is going to throw at you.
And you have to think the long term, Will, on this one, because do you want Jeffrey for the rest of the season? Or do you want to risk maybe putting him back too early, him re-aggravating that, and then not having him in the time that it matters the most?
Sure.
I think there's a fine line there that you have to make sure you're making the right decisions, the smart decisions.
I think the important thing is just the nature of this Green Bay offense. I would imagine that going into Denver this past weekend, this was always the plan and the goal was, as well as Green Bay runs the football, get Jeffrey Simmons healthy enough to be able to just play 40 snaps or 35 snaps on Thursday night in Lambeau.
Sure.
But this is the other part, too, in which Jeffrey was just chomping at the bit to get at it. He probably knew that offensive line for Denver was bad. That's a stat padding game right there, and they did, man. I was just telling Kayla as we went to the break, I didn't realize Danico's got 7 sacks on the season.
Yeah.
He does.
You got a second-year guy with 5.5, if I'm not mistaken, when it come down to Rashad Weaver.
It was interesting watching
right.
The Titans. They mic'd up Danico Autry against Denver.
Yeah.
And they put out this video of him, and he was with the outside linebackers. And I thought it was funny that he was breaking down the outside linebackers and was like, all right, OLB's on 3.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even an OLB.
Yeah.
He is.
Like
technically.
he is now.
Yeah.
But he's not. Like Danico Autry is a defensive end. Really, I guess Danico Autry as a hybrid would best be a 4-3 defensive end. As a guy that can play inside in a 3-4 or outside in a 3-4 as an outside linebacker. Really, he's kind of in between and would be a perfect 4-3 end.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. Like the guy started the season as a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, OLB's on 3. Like,
Well,
just
that's the
kind of
thing.
laughed at that.
I think going to be one of the best free agent pickups that they have had
Yes,
when it's all
ma'am.
said and done, guys, because he has just done it all. He doesn't need to take praise for it. We don't talk about him often,
Yeah.
and he continues to contribute, and he's out there. That's a big thing, too. He's out there.
Yep. I remember playing against Danico when he was even younger, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's a DN, long body guy. No, he lined up on the inside, and he is a headache. Like, I can understand where his production comes from. Like, for real, like, he's more slim than you think.
Yeah.
Now I think he's gotten a little bit bigger, but, like, he's more slim than you think, and he's just a long arm, just get after you type of dude. He honestly fits here. I ain't gonna say it's foolish to why Indy didn't sign him back because they end up going to get DeForest Buckner. I kind of get that. But he's a presence, man, and he's made his name known here for the last couple years. Like, that's nothing to sniff at. At that position, 7 sacks just halfway through the season. He hit double digits. Like, Pro Bowl voting has opened up.
Yes, it has.
A guy like him should be at least, at minimum, an alternate. And I know the big name's going to push to the forefront and stuff like that. Titans fans, get ahead of that stuff.
I was just going to say, go vote.
Yeah, no, this is a portion in which you put your team name out there more, man. I've been saying that for the longest when it comes down to this fan base. Like, and I'm not saying that people aren't, but Danico deserves a little bit more praise when it comes down to what he's done for this team in defense.
Kayla also got the chance to catch up with inside linebacker David Long. You talk about guys who have become ones with a presence on the defense. It seems like every single time within the first 5 snaps of a game on defense, David Long is up in somebody's grill, trash talking.
Got the crowd pumped up Sunday.
He was on Sunday, and he is hoping he is back on the field Thursday night in Lambeau.
Feel like you'll be ready this week?
I mean, yes. I feel like, I'm doing everything I can. Coming in here practicing, getting ready for, the short turnaround.
When you look at the defense specifically and just that plug-and-play, next-man-up mentality,
Right.
ever surprised you that just the success that you guys continue to have, is that just the standard when you come in here?
Yeah, I feel like it's the standard. I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I feel like it's expected, from especially from like the guys that's been here, our coaches as well. It's demanded, it's expected. So it's not a surprise that the guys that are put out there, are ready for the challenge.
What do you like about, going to a place like Green Bay, historic Lambeau Field? How exciting is that to just go up in that environment?
It's really exciting. We went down 2020 was my first time there. We didn't come up, the way we wanted, but it's exciting to get another chance to go out there, and do it again.
What do you see out of those 2 backs specifically?
Good players. They've been making plays for them. Last couple of weeks they've been running ground pound. I think like 4 200-yard games, something like that. But they're running the ball. So I had to come prepared.
So that was David Long Jr. And let me just add this, because we were talking about just how he's all over the place all the time. I mean, given his 120%, like these guys are all beat up, like cuts on legs. Like these guys are all dealing with injuries of their own. And it's just like their mentality is, we want to be better this week. And that's what I always see from David Long Jr. He's not a guy who actually likes to talk with us a lot during the week, because he's just focused on getting out there to the field first and foremost and getting started on the week. So I probably caught him right before he was going to go out there, but we appreciate him talking to us. And like I said, the standard is when you come in here, like you're expected to produce.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're the 5th guy in line or the 1st guy in line, it's all the same. And I liked how he said it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I thought that was clutch right there. And he's a guy too. Just looking at his snap count over the years, the last couple of years, he's played 94% of the snaps with his defense. Like he is an every down type of dude, and see him all over the field. And I ain't gonna lie, I was looking when he hit the ground, just like, God, you can't go down.
Neck.
I
asked him about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's tough, but. You hear a 6th-round draft pick that's just making its way in this league and continuously.
6th round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, finding guys like that, Will, to your point the other day, like having not end of the roster, but like late-round draft picks become David Long Jr.'s.
That's production,
Yeah,
man.
that's production.
Wow.
Up next, Elijah Molden discusses his injury or lack thereof coming off of the groin issue that he had against the Denver Broncos. His first game back, evaluating that process, and it sounds like he is going to be available once again tomorrow night in Green Bay.
I think it's all part of the process. Like a lot of times when you have like as many injuries to one spot as I have, and from surgery and stuff, like you'll have scar tissue will pop, and it's a big scare, but it ends up actually being a good thing.
So for you this week, you feel like that you're going to be able to get ready by Thursday?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. I'm prepared like I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I'm working through like the inflammation and soreness and stuff. But yeah, I anticipate playing.
As a guy that you have not been to Green Bay yet, right?
No.
So what have you heard about it? Are you looking forward to the experience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone says that it's like a playoff type atmosphere, even though it's a regular season game. Obviously, a lot of history there. The weather is going to be a little different than what we're used to, so we'll see.
Awesome. And when you look at this offense specifically, you look at Aaron Rodgers. He's the guy it all starts with, but the run game also with those two back, probably a focus.
Yeah, I think, especially this year too, like those two running backs are really going, and they're some of the best players on the whole team. So we got to stop the run and be physical with them.
So, yeah, you can hear it. The locker room, it's different. Every time you talk to a guy, you might have loud music booming in the background. You might have guys right by you talk. That's just the experience of the locker room. So hopefully we're bringing it to you all out there. But no, good encouragement in terms of Elijah Molden's injury. Yeah. So it was like the buildup of cartilage, and it popped during the game. And that's when we saw him go to the sideline, and he didn't come back. And he woke up the next morning, and he said, I actually felt better.
That happens.
What the?
Yeah, by the way, the locker room background noise
Ramon's bumping over
taking
here.
You back.
Vibing, okay?
It's taking you back.
That's it. When teammates don't want to leave the locker room, phenomenal. I heard on the last clip from David Long Jr. when somebody was saying, who was complaining? I wasn't complaining. I was like, what are y'all talking about? This is hilarious. But to that point about the pop, though, too, we talked about this, I think, like last week, maybe the week before, about how athletes just get scary, get tight. I was like, we're soft when it comes to injuries.
Yeah.
You remember we had that conversation? Because nobody wants that, and it's just like the world ends when you hear that pop. That pop is the release of everything else. It's just like, okay, all right, I'm good now. We'll probably see a better version of Elijah this week than we did last week because the worst thing happened. That was that scar tissue breaking up.
Dang.
Yeah, no, Kayla, that's ask anybody that's been around that. Oh my gosh. I remember when I hyperextended my knee and finally getting it back healthy, I fell on it and it popped in, and that same thing, like, oh my, and no,
and then
nothing.
You were good.
I was good.
Little medical lesson here today.
Yeah, I don't know what that pop is. It's the scar tissue, I guess, of just rehab over and over, and then finally just extend it to, I guess, its original take on your body, and it's weird. You heard him say, "Man, I was scared."
That's crazy.
We're soft like that at times with injuries.
Soft offensive line.
Oh no!
I've heard that before.
That's Kentucky. I mean Kentucky. No, never mind. We'll see.
Not really an athlete.
One more piece of audio from yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park. Roger McCreary makes his first trip to this environment in Lambeau Field, and he matches up with a quarterback who he grew up watching as one of his favorites.
Growing up, it's just that team and everything. They got a great quarterback, the receivers to throw the ball to, and all that stuff. But I feel like just a away game, it's just any other away game. It's gonna be hostile. It's gonna be a large crowd and everything. So we just gotta be focused, just be on the same page.
Speaking of the guy that throws the ball there, clearly a future Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. Just what has made him so outstanding when you've been able to see the games that he's played over the years?
I'm just looking at him and just watching film. Like growing up, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks. So just watching him play, you can tell he really he's a student of the game. He knows, he reads the defense. it's not nothing new to him. He know exactly what's going on. He'll try to do stuff to see, to show you this, and it be something different and all that stuff. So I feel like we really just got to play the game with him, just disguise and just do a lot of stuff, really play with his head, and I feel like we can affect him just by the pressure and all that stuff, too.
Yeah. There's been some inconsistency with his wideouts this year, but you saw Christian Watson kind of click in that game on Sunday, the rookie. What do you see out of him and a guy like Alan Lazard?
Yeah, I seen that game on for Ricky. He had 3 big touchdowns and that stuff. Just him, the Ricky on Watson, he's a tall 6'4" guy. He's fast, the speed. They like throwing the deep ball to him and stuff. I feel like he bringing another tool to their offense. They got Lazard. That's the go-to guy. I would say he's the more vet, the savvy guy. He know more about him, and Rogers got that connection. So I feel like them are going to be his 2 main targets.
And the run game too, just being able to bottle up not 1 but 2 backs that they utilize.
Yeah, 2 backs doing Dylan. And 33, I forgot, Aaron, Aaron, just them 2 guys. There's 2 different types of running backs, but they're both great though. So we just have to just all swarm to the ball and just set an edge. And I feel like once we do that, we'll be great.
Coolest guy on the team in terms of cool, calm, collected as a rookie.
Yeah.
Roger McCreary.
Mm-hmm.
Just always okay, this is a game plan. Yeah, this is how we're going to shut him down. He never amazed. It's just the same Roger every time I talk to him, and he's just so engaged. But I loved when he said Aaron Rodgers was my pretty much favorite quarterback growing up.
Yeah. If he gets an interception, he gonna get that ball back to the ref.
The first thing I thought about.
He's keeping that one. I would keep it too.
615-737-1045, the number. When we come back, the NFL headlines, including Cooper Kupp, possibly done for the year in Los Angeles, having the same procedure that Tennessee fans know very well. We get into the NFL headlines after this on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 104.5 The Zone.
Change is coming and you need to be prepared. Hey, this is Ramon Foster. Did you know that new regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%? That's why you need to act now and get that older system replaced by my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 18 months with no payments. That means you can lock in today's price and not have to pay until spring of 2024. Or you can get up to $1,500 off a new HVAC system. Now, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by a 10-year parts and labor warranty on York products. And Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company. And if you need repair work, they offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Talking Vols in hour number 3 and talking with Rhett Bryan in hour 4 before he gets ready to head to Green Bay. Titans will make their way to the frozen tundra. We'll get a confirmed injury report and update, and a big one today from Mike Vrabel and the Titans as they prepare for Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. But elsewhere in the league, Cooper Kupp having a similar procedure as Cedric Tillman, a high ankle sprain for him. Sean McVay announcing yesterday that Cooper Kupp will undergo surgery on a high ankle sprain that he suffered Wednesday, suffered over the weekend, having the procedure today on Wednesday. Tightrope surgery, and depending on where LA is in the NFC West in 4 to 6 weeks, his season might just be over.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They went all in on the Super Bowl, man, and it seems to be they've taken a step back. Injuries, and it's a very fragile roster anyway when you don't have draft picks and you can't do much in free agency. Losing Cooper Kupp pretty much puts them, third probably in NFC West at this point?
I mean, they're last.
They're dead last.
Yeah, they're
last.
awful.
Yeah, see. So, well, the people, and even that's me a little bit when it comes down to free agent spendings and draft picks and stuff like that. Like, this is the other side of it. Yeah, you got the ring, but that's a one-shot, 1 year type of scenario. How long can you sustain that when nobody else wants to take your offers, especially if they were going after the rusher in Carolina? You remember there was the
Brian Burns.
Yeah, Brian Burns.
That's right.
They were supposedly trying to go after him, and everybody's like, "Nah, we're good. We see what you guys are doing, and we'd rather not." So that sucks for Kupp. But how long does the ring last? Y'all know what I'm saying? Yeah, the ring lasts forever. What about the fan base? They're already in L.A. to
What
where
fan base?
I was going to say they don't have a fan
there
base.
it is. You see what I'm saying? So sucks for him. That tightrope surgery, by the way, has just gotten more exposure in there.
That's incredible, though, really, when you think about it.
It is. Marquise had that. My former teammate, Marquise Pouncey, had that one. I was just like, what do you mean, a tightrope? And they literally like tie a string in between your bones.
In between the bones.
Stabilize it. The guy that specializes in it, I think, is in Carolina.
Yep.
Like, it's a doctor, a specialist in Carolina that does it. Yeah, it's long term.
Okay.
And it's supposed to really, really, really help.
They put a string through it. They actually showed like an animation of it. I think during the Thursday night game last week between Carolina and Atlanta, because somebody else had it.
Okay.
And they put a string through. They pull the bones together with this little kind of string, and then the string that is in between the bones stays, and then they cut off the rest of it.
Whoa.
That they like pulled it together with, is how they do it.
Technology.
So
Medical.
4 to 6 weeks for him, but if LA is still at last of the NFC West when he is back from IR, you would imagine that his season's just over.
Yeah.
So apologies to fantasy owners everywhere who have Cooper Kupp on their team.
And he's just a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
And MVP last year.
Sure.
I mean, you hate to see that just for football fans in general, but LA has just not been it this year.
No,
they have
haven't.
dealt with their own injuries. I mean, even Matthew Stafford, he's just not been good.
What is a Stafford?
What is a Stafford?
No, for real.
A good, not great quarterback.
Yeah, I've never been full in on Matthew Stafford.
Almost everybody says the same thing, but if you listen to the talking heads on TV, oh my gosh, he's the greatest thing ever. I've always just kind of thought that. I think he makes really good clutch throws at times, but it's never been overly impressive to me.
Let's go to the phones at 615-737-1045. Eric is in Nashville chiming in with us this morning. Hello, Eric.
Hey, guys. I heard you last hour talking about the Packers and all this stuff, and they were talking about, commentators. What was hilarious, I don't know if you saw it. I was flipping around this morning, was watching Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, and I also had Jeremy Fowler on that. And I normally don't watch that stuff. I just kind of flip around. A lot of times I just watch it for comedy relief to hear, a lot of the outlandish takes that people say. But they were talking about the game tomorrow night, the Packers against the Titans, and basically Max Kellerman threw out the question, can the Packers and will they make a run to get to the playoffs? And all four of them said yes.
Wow.
Jeremy Fowler said he believes they can and will make a run. So did Jay Williams. So did Max Kellerman. And so did Keyshawn Johnson. He doubled down. He said, can they? Do you believe they can? And I believe they will. All four of them said they will. Now, on Get Up, of course, they picked the game. It was a different crew. It was Mike Greenberg, Jeremy Fowler, Dominic Foxworthy, and Chris Canty. Fox player Chris Canty said the Titans are going to win tomorrow, and of course Greenberg and Fowler said that the Packers are going to win. And I think Bart Scott also said he doesn't believe the Packers are going to make the run. But if you looked at the Packers' schedule, they basically will have to go 6-1 to have a shot. I just don't think they are. I mean, you're talking about not only the Titans, but they got to go to Philadelphia, Chicago. And I know Aaron Rodgers is on the Bears, but I don't feel that way this time with the way Justin Fields is playing. I know they host the Rams at home. They may beat them, but they got to go to Miami, I believe, Christmas Day. They also host the Vikings and Detroit. Do you believe that schedule they're going to go 6-1? I don't.
No.
Yeah, but I just ought to throw that out there, guys. Y'all take care of that.
You too, Eric.
That's the national
Thank you,
media at its best.
Yeah, it is. Like Shay said earlier, it's a familiar product. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I will say this, too, in another way that I'm reminded that Green Bay is a blue blood in the NFL. Going to Lambeau and the calls that they get in that building.
Sure.
I remember that from 2020 and some of the calls that they were getting. You laugh.
No, it's true.
But it's like going to Rupp Arena and playing Kentucky against the Rupparees.
Corrupt Arena, as my brother Nardo calls it.
Really?
Yeah, he's a Louisville.
Like that,
Louisville, by the way, that dropped to 0-3 last night.
Ooh, not a good start for them.
Their last game they're going to be favored in until December 14th. They lost to Appalachian State by 1 point.
You think I get emotional about like the Vols, Nardo and his Cardinals?
Yeah.
Listen to him, because he was there during their like golden years, right? When Petrino, Nardo's
Not
like
Nardo, Cardno.
No. Nardo is upset with
Anyway.
Louisville. Oof.
Eric's right though.
Yeah.
Every excuse will be given of
Aaron's just gonna look at a ref. Flag dropped.
That's the way it works. Which is funny, as much as Aaron Rodgers criticizes the NFL
I know.
now. Like,
That's what's crazy.
Like, he was talking the other day about,
Who likes
nothing's
him?
going to change when it comes to turf. Like, the NFL is not going to listen to us.
Well, I agree with him on
We're
that.
like, well, no, we don't listen to you because you're doing, like, weird drug stuff with, like, your hippie girlfriend that no one else ever does. So, like, hop
Which
off.
girlfriend? Does he have
Pass the
like 80?
sticks.
Yeah, you probably got 5 right now.
Halftime of the show, you can join us at 615-737-1045. Where Tennessee landed in the most recent college football playoff rankings and what the committee decided between TCU and Michigan, how that affects the Vols. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. With the Titans playing on a short week, the team made several roster moves to help address their injury concerns. The Titans signed defensive lineman Leroy Murchison and linebacker Joe Schobert from the practice squad. They signed defensive back Devontae Harris, kicker Josh Lambo, defensive back Greg Mabin, and linebacker Andre Smith to the practice squad. They also placed Caleb Farley on IR. Meanwhile, on their latest injury report, the Titans listed Randy Bullock, Bud Dupree, Ben Jones, Cody Hollister, and Lonnie Johnson Jr. as did not practice. Big Jeff, Jeffrey Simmons, Roger McCreary, and Amani Hooker were designated as limited participants. Titans and Packers tomorrow, 7:15 will be the kickoff. Lee Company countdown to kickoff begins at 4. The top 5 of the college football playoffs remain the same. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, Tennessee 5, LSU bumped up to 6. USC is number 7. To the ice, Predators defeated the Wild 2-1. UC Saros made 32 saves. Matt Duchene, a goal and an assist in the win. 2 hoops, Vanderbilt defeated Temple 89-87 in men's hoops. That was in overtime. And the Pelicans defeated the Grizzlies 113-102 in the association. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here on 104.5 The Zone with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, the capital J journalist Kayla Anderson.
I like it.
And the best producer of the world, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Will Bowling on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. We've been looking for ways to introduce our new teammate, Kayla Anderson. Maybe that's the one.
I like that one.
We'll keep workshopping.
I did go to school for that.
Yes, you did.
That's nice.
I technically did too, but I'm like if there's like a middle case J, I'm not really lowercase. Like maybe you have like the end of the word capitalized.
There we go.
Man, I'm gonna be real with you. I had no idea what I was getting into when I went to college. I did not.
Yeah, what was your
I'm
major?
a sociology major.
Okay.
Yeah, with a minor in African American studies.
Got it.
I had no idea. I was just like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like to plan out what I was gonna do was like, all right, I got football.
You majored in playing right tackle.
Yeah. For real.
Worked out well there, Mon.
It did,
Worked out
but I tell this story before. Like one of the most embarrassing moments though was just like filling out my resume and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Had 0. Like I had like
that is kind of weird. Like that when you think about it, right?
It is like being able to like fill that out and be like team captain. I got this award right here, football, and I was just like, dang.
There it is.
0 workplace like experience whatsoever, but it worked out, right?
It did.
Apparently, people tell you, well, and they'll look at your resume and be like, well, he's a great team player, and that's what people are looking for. I'm just like, you want to talk about embarrassing though? I was just like, oh,
I get it.
So you knew you was gonna do journalism?
Oh yeah, since I was like in 4th grade.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Right away. Knew from the get-go.
My brother and I would mute the TV when I was 3.
Yep.
And he was 15 and call games together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would be the color commentator and Wes was play-by-play.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah. Literally when I was 3.
Yeah, I'd set up my little recorder. Remember those handhelds, you guys?
Yeah.
The handheld video cameras? I love those things. I would set it up and my brother would record me and I'd just go do the sports highlights for the day.
I love it.
That's interesting. Remember, my wife just had this conversation about like planning for like the kids stuff. Like RJ talking about he wants to be engineering and math.
Whoa.
Miles is really good at like math and stuff like
Good
that.
for them, man.
And I was just like, okay.
Let me get my boy Dobbs on the phone. Tell you about how
I
that
was just
goes.
gonna say NASA.
Yeah,
That's
for
right.
real. But yeah, that's interesting that you guys
I
are
always,
doing that.
I always tell y'all the story of when I was in the Thornton Center at UT, and as a freshman student athlete, you have to have a certain amount of tutoring hours.
Yeah.
Like no option. Like you can't like place out of it until you're a sophomore.
Yeah.
Or as a second semester, I think you can place
Second
out of some of
semester
it.
you can.
But as a sophomore, then you don't have to go to like the one-on-one tutoring session. So
Yeah.
you have study hours where you have to literally be swiped in to the Thornton Center with your Vol card to sit there, and you're just running out the clock. But then you have like 4 one-on-one tutoring sessions. And it's so funny because freshman year, you're in like Math 101.
Yeah.
Which we always joke with my sister. There's Math 123. And we used to be like, Claire, you're in such bad a math. You're in Math 123. Really?
Claire gonna cut y'all.
So we call it Math for Dummies. Anyway, but I had to take tutoring for Political Science 101.
I did too.
Which I'm sitting there just like, we're learning about the Bill of Rights. Like, well, we did this in 8th grade. Like, yeah, we have to do it again. Like all this stuff.
So your tutoring wasn't really tutoring.
No, it was just
hanging
like
out.
literally,
Yeah.
it was a
teach you
student.
how to study.
It literally, I had a student that was in law school who was like, every like once a month would be like, hey, like, I got a lot of work to do. Like, can we just sit here and agree? We'll just do homework. And I'm like, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But it
Cool.
was funny. There was one time a lot of the study rooms were taken. And it was like Sunday nights. It would
Yeah.
always be packed in there,
Yeah,
just getting ready
always
for the
is.
week. And football players are in there because they traveled and they just got back. And we were sitting in the big study room where it's like 2 long tables and there's like a whiteboard in
Yeah,
front.
yep.
And like different tutoring sessions will go on there of just like different people with their tutors at the same time. And I'm in there doing Political Science 101. I'm like, okay, so this article of the Constitution, and we're like going through all this stuff. We've got the textbook out. And then I look over and there's Dobbs.
Yeah.
And he's breaking down, like it might as well be a foreign language. And he's writing on the whiteboard of like the square root of this with like these signals and like pi and all this crazy stuff. I just have no idea. He's making these graphs of like aerodynamics on the whiteboard. I'm looking over like, huh,
Dobbs.
here I am learning about the Bill of Rights.
Josh Dobbs needed it. I'm a person, I hated tutors.
Oh, I did too.
Like it made me
did
feel
too.
like I was an idiot, like needing one, and I didn't need one.
no,
I
you're a smart
always
guy.
do the work. I was just like,
Right.
all right, maybe I just don't want to do the work. My mom ain't here. I got nobody. Like I don't have to go to this class other than the coach telling me. Like I hated being in that room. You understand this? You know, I'm like, leave.
You're
I
like,
got
I
this
will if you just let me
already.
figure it out.
Yeah,
that's right. I'm with you.
I hate it. Although I push my kids towards tutors all the time.
Oh gosh.
You're like, RJ, if you're listening.
Don't be
Miles.
me. Be better than me.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly. Well,
615-737-1045. The number as we take a look at the college football headlines last night. A delayed ranking reveal because Kentucky had to lose a basketball game on national television before we could know where the Vols were ranked. Anyway.
look at you being petty.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. No changes to the top 5, but LSU is up to number 6. And USC now becomes the representative for the Pac-12 with 1 loss, up to number 7. They still have number 16 UCLA on their remaining schedule. And I expected, Kayla, more love for USC on this show.
Yeah.
Simply because ESPN likes to lean into just creating interest. I mean, this is, again, we've mentioned it every week. The rankings have come out. This is a made-for-TV event, the unveiling of the rankings. And I think if USC was College Game Day this weekend like TCU was last weekend, you would have heard a lot more love for the Trojans at number 7 and their possibilities of sneaking in the playoffs.
I think you're exactly right. Instead, it is going to Bozeman, Montana.
Yes.
For the
Shout out.
Brawl of the Wild.
Listen to him get hyped behind the glass.
Except for it should have they should have waited till next year to go to Missoula.
No, they have a more fun city in Bozeman.
No, they don't.
Yes,
Missoula is actually, and that's not, Bozeman is all now like snooty. It's where all the money is.
Oh, it's snooty, that's for
Missoula is like a football, like they live, breathe, and die by football
Yeah, but no
there.
one wants to drive to Missoula.
Well, you fly into Spokane, my hometown, and then you drive up there.
No, you
Schaefer.
Yeah, you do. That's what you do.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Can I
that's
say
what you
this?
do.
These are places I want to go visit.
I keep telling you,
that's-
Montana's the big sky country. You got to go.
I want to go to that game.
Yellowstone season.
It's sweet.
All right, full context, of course, Kayla worked out there in Missoula, and my wife worked with Montana State for like a year and a half.
So we're kind of like
Actually, I didn't
Brawl
know
of
that.
the Wild right here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going head to head. But it's the first time they've ever gone to it. I think it's going to be spectacular regardless because it's a great rivalry in FCS. But anyway, so yeah, they're going to game day there. So you're right, Will. I think if it would have been USC, USC probably would have gotten a little bit more love. It's a team too. It's still on the West Coast. They've been good this year, but not enough to garner that attention nationwide yet. I think you still got to make sure that it's the real deal. But they've got one loss. I just see that number 2 loss is going to come to UCLA.
Right. I agree.
I really couldn't understand. Well, it's not that I couldn't understand. I saw a lot of people speaking about it this weekend. Like USC played on a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the entire weekend, nobody spoke about them in the win and hoping they lose, too. Maybe because it was a late game. That was a tight game. That was an interesting game to watch, too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching them. They are a good team. I just don't know how good they are with the people they faced, too, this year. USC, to me, doesn't have a case against Tennessee if they do happen to win the Pac-12 when it comes down to it. I was in a chat with somebody, why? Because that's what we always do, right? Our group chats is our thing.
104.5 The Zone TV on YouTube as well. It's where you can join in on the conversation.
It's our think tanks when it comes down to it. And I'm thinking to myself, can USC, and I'll say this, Ohio State is a definite yes. Can USC come to the SEC and compete? Top of the league this year.
Back in the day, yeah.
I was going to say this year.
No, right.
And I'm
not right now because they don't play defense.
They'd have 2 or 3 losses.
I'm not trying to be condescending when I say this or be anti-Pac-12. But where are they if they come to the SEC this year?
Well, they just got Lincoln Riley. They're just starting to build back up that program, which they're not even going to be in the Pac-12. They're going to be in the Big Ten. So let's remember that. But no, I don't think right now they would be a top team. They might be kind of hindering there at 4 or 5.
Ole Miss?
They're better than Ole Miss.
Better than Ole Miss.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Let's go to Gator Mike on the phone lines, one of our favorites, calling in. Even though he is a Gator, we do love him. What's going on, Mike? How are you?
Yeah, I'm one of those good Gator fans.
That's right.
Bill? I'm not one of those
100%.
fan. Like, I wasn't like dog cussing Ramon when he was in the swamp and stuff. I always liked Ramon. I always thought, Ramon, I love my big uglies, right?
Yes, indeed.
So I was telling Shafe, did you see, I know Will knows about it, did you see the play that Desmond Watson made in the game on Saturday?
Yes.
Against South Carolina?
Yes.
Which one, Desmond?
The 400-pound D-tackle.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. I did. I forgot who. Big boy. That's what I call him.
Big boy, getting the ball and rumbling. That was all 415 pounds of him. So,
and
you
Mush.
Big boy some love.
And Mush, Spencer Rattler on the way.
Oh, yeah, just like get out of my face or whatever. Hey, but also, I thought it was funny when y'all were saying, what is a Stafford? I asked Schaefer, I go, what is a Jimbo Fisher without Jameis Winston?
Ooh.
Right? Exactly. Anyways, I'll hang up and listen. Always good to talk to you. And real quickly, Kayla, my old Booking.com rep, she was from Missoula. The people from Missoula talk about Missoula like it's the greatest place on earth because it's so beautiful and everything. So I'm like, Ramon, I got to get out there and check it out.
Me too.
There we go.
How much she talked about it.
I love it.
Gator Mike, we'll go out there together, man.
There's not a lot. Okay, so there's a lot of people like, there's nothing to do out there. Well, sometimes people don't have to do something every day in a big city to free their mind and enjoy a little beautiful nature. Nothing wrong with that.
Gator Mike also with the cool flex. My Booking.com agent.
I was like, where's this going?
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
He's
Gator
in tune.
Mike living right.
You feel me? Like,
Living right.
Did he come over here and flex on us?
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
The Jimbo Fisher thing is funny that, again, I just can't get over the fact that an offensive head coach has an offensive offense. And after Jameis Winston, it has been downhill. And
So-
if I mean,
He's had top 5 classes in the past.
in the past, yeah, he's a good recruiter.
So, okay, top 5 classes in the past. And everybody said, well, is this a quarterback? Is this a quarterback?
Yeah.
We really going to give him that excuse when you got that much
What
support
excuse?
around you that it's a quarterback for him? I'm not
What are you
willing to
talking
die
about?
on that, meaning his quarterback, like he hasn't been able to find the right quarterback to run his offense.
It's not an excuse. It is to his detriment.
No,
No, that's not an excuse.
No,
because
Will.
it's his fault. So he's
Yeah.
graded he's graded for that more negatively because he
Okay.
can't find a quarterback.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's to
I'm
his
fine with
detriment,
that.
but it's
Yes.
also his
Right.
fault.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Because he's getting the pick of the litter.
He is.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
picking wrong. That's the problem. Haynes King has the weirdest throwing motion I have ever seen.
And
Ever.
nobody outside of the SEC right now knows who that is
Right.
either.
I didn't.
Okay?
Yeah.
He was down to
Who
two
is it?
schools.
Who is this guy?
Haynes King was down to two schools when he picked Texas A&M.
And then they forced the quarterback out.
Texas A&M and Tennessee. Jim Chaney and Jeremy Pruitt desperately wanted Haynes King as their quarterback.
And now he went and just melted away.
True story.
Need some clean hangs is what he needs.
When we come back, Ben McKee of Go Vols 247 recaps the Tennessee headlines out of their win over Missouri. What impressed him the most about this win for the Vols? We'll ask him coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Genesis Diamonds and the biggest and last sale of the year is here this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Fellas, get it together. I told you today is already Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You've been hearing about this. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35%, so you can save and maybe spend something on yourself. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing is held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and special pricing. It's a massive jewelry trunk show with a lot of new items never seen before. California and New York designers are here showing off the good stuff. Get across-the-board savings from wedding bands to engagement rings to fashion earrings and bracelets. Shop early for Christmas and don't miss these prices. Plus, get 0% interest financing. And yes, luxury pre-owned Rolexes are included in this because Genesis has a fantastic collection of really hard to find Rolex watches in pristine condition. When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, guess what? You know it's the real deal. These extreme values are at a once-a-year event, the biggest and last store-wide sale of the year. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for this incredible event. Genesis Diamonds, both locations also in Green Hills and in Cool Springs.
Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here at 104.5 The Zone. As we continue the conversation, taking a look at Tennessee's win over Missouri as the 5th-ranked Vols wearing orange helmets look to head to Columbia,
they look
South
pretty
Carolina.
sweet.
They do look clean. This weekend with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. As we go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and check in with our friend Ben McKee of Go Vols 247. Ben, Tennessee has announced what it is wearing. Would you now also like to take the time to announce what you are wearing to South Carolina on Saturday?
You want to know what I'm wearing right now or what I'm wearing on Saturday?
Yes, easy.
Yes, Ben.
Not that kind of show.
Look, I'm in my dad clothes right now. It's middle of the week of daddy daycare, so I'm just in the house shoes and some sweatpants, just trying to thrive and survive. But on Saturday, it'll probably be pretty consistent. Will, I know you want my wardrobe tips to impress the ladies. Trying to get you in that ball game. Trying to get you going.
Thank you.
So I know you need a pair of J's. Got to have that on Saturday with some jeans or khakis and a nice button down. And I'm sure it's going to be cold, so going to need a beanie, especially if you've got a bald head like me, and a nice jacket.
I love it, Ben.
No scarf?
No.
Okay, not a scarf guy.
It's fall time. You know, people throw the scarf and the social media hat on too. The flat.
What are we
cowboy hat.
We're dressing for Insta here. What are we doing?
I thought Ben.
I'm not a scarf guy. I can't pull it off like you can.
Oh,
Ben knows his audience.
Ben flips it on. I love it.
Ben, this weekend, what impressed you the most about this win for Tennessee over Missouri?
The fact that Josh Heupel was not willing to take his foot off the gas pedal. I liked what he did at the end of the game. I know that was a topic of debate afterwards, and some nationally were not in favor of it and wanted to spin it as if Eli Drinkwitz was going to remember that in the future, yet they did not want to remember the Eli Drinkwitz comments over the years about Tennessee. And Eli Drinkwitz is also somebody that has ran his mouth behind the scenes often about Tennessee. So I think those people that were complaining about Josh Heupel sending a message to Eli Drinkwitz forget that Eli Drinkwitz has been the one running his mouth on top of Tennessee needing to impress to get into the college football playoffs. So I thought the offensive performance was really nice, and I thought they could have scored 80, to be quite honest, if Jalen Hyatt doesn't drop those 2 passes there before halftime and some of those other drives in the first half don't stall out. I mean, Tennessee probably has 35, 42 points at the half, and then they go on to do what they did in the second half. So I thought the offensive performance was really impressive. And Missouri's defense is legit. I mean, it's not Georgia's defense by any stretch of the imagination, but it's good. They're really good up front along the defensive line. They've got several guys that are going to play in the league. And Tennessee's offense got back on track against a good offense. And I kind of thought it said more about Georgia when you look back at the Georgia game than Tennessee, because Tennessee's resume up until the Georgia game showed that they could handle business against good defensive fronts. They did it against Pittsburgh. They did it against Florida, LSU, Alabama, Kentucky, and I think people kind of forgot that because of what happened in Athens. And the Missouri game was a nice reminder, I think.
Oh, Ben, keep talking your trash, man. Hey, I almost don't even want to say anything, man, because you came out here just lighting it up the way you did. But I guess I got to. One thing I've seen as of late, man, this trend of all teams we play saying putting our cleats in the ground. And every single one of them to a T have almost just kind of got burned by that little statement right there. What is this all about by putting – I've never heard this all my days of playing football, having our cleats in the ground.
I guess being present for the moment. It's kind of new for me as well. I guess putting the cleats in the ground and trying to make a stand. And I think Tennessee's offense seems so simple to potentially go up against in a way, because they're not necessarily doing a ton of things that you have to worry about from a defensive perspective. But then you get in person and it just kind of smacks you right in the face. And now Josh Heupel and Alex Golesh have gotten so creative with the different variations of what they're running off of the tempo and and the different formations, and you never see them really go four wide with four receivers per se, because of what Prince and Fant and Jacob Warren are able to do as tight ends. But they've become so creative compared to last season. I think last season they were still trying to figure out their personnel and were just really focused on just getting the tempo going and that really being the gas for the offense. Whereas this year you're seeing so much creativity.
Yeah.
Whether it's bringing guys in motion, hiding Jalen Hyatt behind the line of scrimmage, while also sending Dylan Sampson in motion and then leaking him out of the backfield. So I'm not really sure what the opponents are saying and why they're saying it, but I just kind of feel like Tennessee's offense sneaks up on you, and it won't always be like this. This will obviously be the second year that defenses in the SEC have gone up against it, so they'll be more familiar and theoretically have more of a comfort level in going up against it because you know what to expect. But I think right now it just kind of sneaks up on you in a way and slaps you right in the face.
These next 2 weeks, something of a concern, or are you okay? Like, are we past this point? But South Carolina 7 p.m. game, at Vanderbilt 7:30 game, also Eastern time. It'll be 6:30 here, man. How are you feeling this team will adjust to those night games where even maybe here in Nashville it may get loud, but South Carolina will be very hostile with what happened in Georgia?
Right. I'm not knocking the South Carolina environment. It's going to be loud, like you just said. Williams-Brice is not one of the best SEC environments when you compare it to Bryant-Denny or Neyland or playing in Baton Rouge, but it'll still be loud. And it is a fair point to bring up that Tennessee did not handle the noise well at Georgia, and they're going to have to handle the noise this weekend at South Carolina. That's really the only concern I have for Tennessee going into this weekend. Quite frankly, I've been writing off the Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt game for like a month and a half now. Once those games came into focus and we could kind of see the end of the regular season, I just kind of viewed it as the Georgia game was going to be the absolute shoe-in to get into the playoffs and the SEC championship game if you're able to win that game, because I just don't see a way that Tennessee loses to South Carolina or Vanderbilt, especially Vanderbilt. I mean, that's going to be a home game for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark Lee's performance this past weekend against Kentucky was very, very impressive. That was a really cool story. It was neat to see Mike Wright run around the way that he did. That was impressive. But Vanderbilt is still building its program and still has a lot of ground to catch up in terms of talent when you look at Tennessee's roster. South Carolina has a couple of players that you kind of have to be aware about. I'm not a Spencer Rattler fan. I don't think that he's very good, but he does have some athleticism to where if you're not locked in and ready to go, he can make you pay at times. He just doesn't do it consistently. And then I think Jaheim Bell is an absolute beast, a guy that they can line up all over the field. Split out wide at receiver, can do the typical tight end stuff, can hand it off to him. I think he's tremendous. So they have a couple of playmakers that Tennessee will have to be aware of this weekend. But I think Tennessee should win in the trenches, and there's not really a ton defensively that concerns me if I'm Tennessee. And outside of Jaheim Bell, there's not really a playmaker on offense that worries me either.
So you have these 2 games left in the regular season. For you, and you're looking at this team on either side of the ball, is there things that you would like to see them just get a little better at if they're able to position themselves for the college football playoff and taking on some of these other big boy programs? Like, is there anything that sticks out to you particular?
Absolutely. I would say there's 2 things, and one would be the thing that Ramon just brought up and just handling the noise this weekend. I think that would be a nice step in the right direction. Again, South Carolina is not going to be what Georgia was, but it is going to be loud. A night game. South Carolina would love nothing more than to spoil Tennessee's season and be the reason that they do not get into the college football playoffs. So it's going to be loud, and Sandstorm's going to be blaring, and it'll be a pretty cool environment. But that is something that Tennessee did not handle well against Georgia whatsoever, and I was very surprised by that, because of how many veterans are on Tennessee's offense. I didn't necessarily buy into the fact of the talk all week that it wasn't going to be that loud, and it wasn't that tough of a place to play in Athens. I completely disagreed with all that talk because of what Georgia is now compared to what they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. That place was going to be ruckus. And I did think that Tennessee would be able to handle it because Hendon Hooker has played so much football. Tillman and Hyatt, those guys have played a ton of football. The offensive line has played a good bit of football, and they did not handle it. So I would like to see them handle that this weekend because although if Tennessee were to make the college football playoffs, those crowds are probably going to be 50-50, if not in Tennessee's favor in terms of fans showing up. But you're still going to have to deal with some crowd noise in some big-time playoff games. So seeing them handle that would be a big step in the right direction for me. And then also the penalties. And Josh Heupel's teams have always been heavily penalized, but it is something that I still think that they need to do the best that they can to clean it up because you just don't want to rack up 10, 15 penalties a game and that be the reason that you lose one of these last two games and don't go to the playoffs, or you don't want to be penalties be the reason that you don't win a playoff game. So I think handling crowd noise and cutting down on penalties are the two things that I think Tennessee needs to improve in.
Hendon Hooker have a chance to put his name at the very, very top for a Heisman, favorite in the next two games. I know C.J. Stroud obviously getting a lot of the love too.
Right. I think so. Yes, I'd like to think so. He's certainly up there. I still think I haven't done a deep dive into the numbers of all the potential Heisman winners, but I would still, off the top of my head, consider Hendon the front runner because of the level of competition that he has played compared to some of his other opponents that could potentially win the award. In fact, I would look at Stetson Bennett before I would look at C.J. Stroud because of his level of competition. That is a factor that weighs heavily for me personally. I think C.J. Stroud is awesome, and he's having a terrific year, but I do think the level of competition should be something that's factored in. So speaking of that level of competition, not a big-time opponent this weekend for Hendon, but a game in which he can pad the stats. But it does kind of feel like he's going to need a poor C.J. Stroud performance one of these last 2 weeks to maybe help him in the mind of people nationally. And I don't know that Maryland can do that this weekend against Ohio State, but Michigan is a very physical football team and could potentially help Hendon next week get in that number one spot to win the Heisman. So that'll be an interesting game for many reasons, to see if Hendon can vault to number one in the Heisman race and also see if Tennessee makes the playoffs off of one of those two teams losing.
Ben, on the way out, 247 Sports gives a crystal ball for five-star defensive lineman David Hobbs to Tennessee, announcing his decision on November the 25th. Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, the three finalists for him. Where are we at with him in this recruitment, and how big of a get would this be for a Tennessee defense that has quietly, with all the success it's had on offense, already put together quite an impressive recruiting class on that side of the football in 2023?
Yes, Tennessee has put together a really nice recruiting class to this point, and I think the recruiting classes are only going to continue to get better when you look at some of the early work that they've been able to do in next year's class and in 2024 and 2025 as well. I think David Hobbs would be just absolutely massive if Tennessee can go out and land him, and it does seem like Tennessee is in a great spot for him, and I think it would be a statement, quite frankly, because of the two teams that they would beat out for his services. You said Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. I mean, I think that speaks for itself and tells you all you need to know. One's the defending champions and potentially about to win two in a row, and they've turned out pro after pro after pro along the defensive line under Kirby Smart. And I don't need to say anything about Alabama and what they've been able to do under Nick Saban. And for Rodney Garner to go in and beat out those two schools for that type of talent, I think is an absolute statement, a statement of what Rodney has been able to do this year with the defensive line. That was why I thought Tennessee was a 7 or 8 win team. I did not think that they were going to go on to win 11 games and potentially make the college football playoffs, just because I didn't know what they would be along the offensive line, and I didn't know what they would be along the defensive line. And that's the difference in winning 8 games or 10 games. And the defensive line has showed so much improvement under Rodney Garner. And it all starts with Amari Thomas, but there's so many other guys, Dejon Terry, Karat Garland, just guys stepping up left and right kind of each week. Bryson Easton, Elijah Simmons. It's somebody each week stepping up and helping Amari Thomas. And I think David Hobbs and several defensive players, defensive linemen, have noticed that improvement, and you pair that with Rodney's track record, and I think that's why Tennessee is able to beat out in Alabama and Georgia. So it was a Tennessee-Alabama race there for a long time. He goes to Georgia for the Tennessee game, was blown away, and I think Georgia kind of replaced Alabama. So it's a Tennessee-Georgia race, and I think Tennessee's in a really good spot.
Winning the Carolinas and recruiting, always good for Tennessee.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Ben McKee has been our guest covering the Vols for Go Vols 247. Ben McKee 14 on Twitter is where you can find him. Appreciate the time as always, buddy.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great week.
Thanks.
All right, there is Ben McKee with us on the Mark Spade Real Estate Hotline. And when we come back, the orange helmets.
Ooh. He didn't get any sleep last night.
I know he did.
Ramon Foster gives his FOMO of not being able to wear an orange helmet.
Yeah.
Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
I thought you were going to introduce my record, but with the latest allegations against Tennessee, let's hold up on what my record is because I expect them to vacate some wins, and that's going to help my record a little bit.
Oh, man,
Okay?
this is getting better.
Oh, Eli Drinkwitz. He's clearly not listening to the show, and he doesn't know that his Twitter fingers and his mic are always hot. And that we do have receipts of you when you step out of line and then get embarrassed publicly and piss down your leg in Neyland Stadium in front of 100,000 people.
I pissed down my leg.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Show, The Zone, the show that never pisses down its leg, except for me in that intro, which is a demerit, and I almost beat Jonathan Schaefer to saying so.
Freaking bum.
Eli Drinkwitz, his comments mentioned there by Ben McKee of Go Vols 247 before the break, saying, the people that are talking about Tennessee running up the score clearly did not remember that. We knew that. Ben McKee adding the nugget of, and behind the scenes, too. He's continued to run his mouth about Tennessee.
Which is why I never understood, buddy. I get him. There's a lot of people that love Drinkwitz, and he's a great soundbite for stuff like that, too. And that's always entertaining. I enjoyed it in the summertime. It gave us something to talk about. I remember saying, I hope we run him into the ground. And we did.
Narrator.
Dropped
They ran him into the ground.
a 40-piece wings on them, lemon peppers.
Let your game do the talking.
Straight up.
So many schools in the SEC that their school record for most total yards in a game is against Louisiana Lafayette, Fresno State, San Jose State, Wofford.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead. Keep going. Come on.
Tennessee's is against Missouri. Actually, the former record was against Louisiana Lafayette. That's why I started with them. University of Louisiana, it's now called.
724.
It's a lot of yards. It's a whole lot of yards.
I thought, oh, my God.
Again, the Titans and the Vols play the same sport.
724.
The same sport, somehow. Tennessee will be wearing an orange helmet this weekend in South Carolina. Ramon Foster, how does this make you feel?
I mean, I hate I'm not in college anymore.
That's right. You'd be making NIL money with
100%,
with a wing place somewhere in Knoxville, and you'd be wearing orange helmets.
I'd be over the top. I'd be trying to get a car. Give me the Mercedes one.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me the Benz dealership, please.
Hendon Hooker just got a Mercedes-Benz NIL deal last week.
Yep.
We
retweeted it that day.
Malcolm Butler had it before him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the D lineman. Yeah, yeah, he had it because
He
it had
had
like
one.
the Butler service is what it was with him, and he had the Mercedes ones.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good for him, man. The Benz, goodness, I'd be all over that one. G-Wagon me, baby. Yeah, I couldn't handle that. That's probably why I did. I'm already pushing back right now. I know myself.
Coach Fulmer be like, "Hey, Moan, you just keep paving the way, bud."
That was one of my biggest gripes, though.
Keep working hard.
But it was so funny, though, and y'all know I love Coach Fulmer, but walking outside of the facility and seeing that big body Lexus of his sitting out front, like in the first parking spot as we walked out, and I was just like, really?
Phantom's so big, you can't even fit in the parking lot.
Can't even fit in the parking spot, Will. You feel me?
On the note of unis,
yeah.
and I feel Tennessee has done a lot this year.
Heupel's
with
a uniform guy.
Okay, so that's my question to y'all, because you guys know what Oregon does and Maryland, some of these schools that kind of go outside of the box. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's great. I tend to be in certain ways a traditionalist, but I kind of like thinking out of the box sometimes. And if it gets you guys hyped up that an orange helmet is coming out on Saturday, I can't imagine what it does for some of the players and then the recruits.
It's just been clean, though, too.
Yeah,
like,
not
the way
too
it
much.
was, it's been not too much. If we start doing the camo, I'm jumping off of that one, Kayla. I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
These four that they've done, the smoke gray, the black, the original, and the orange, all right, cool. Yeah, we can do it. And if they only did like one a year, or like a theme night game or something like that, cool. I'm cool with that.
Well, I do think the Lady Vols blue should be worked into a game every single year.
I do too.
That's awesome.
That makes sense to
really
me.
liked that.
I think it's a cool homecoming tradition.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a cool homecoming tradition, especially this year, the 50th anniversary of Title IX. And look, we talked about it when it happened. In Knoxville, you could never honor Pat Summitt too much. It's impossible.
I hate I didn't engage with her more, but I didn't know what I didn't know as a young guy. Who could have ever? Nobody.
It's so the rumor is, and there was a picture of the orange helmet in the Tennessee locker room going into the Alabama game. There's speculation that the orange out planned by Tennessee for Alabama was for the orange helmet to be worn at home. And then the words everybody spoke in supply chain or whatever happened, and it got pushed back. But what I hope happens is you continue the orange helmet next week in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
You wear the orange pants with them because Tennessee's
here
going to
we
go with the white pants. And that way you're checkering Vandy
you
on
go.
and off the field. 615-737.
I knew he was waiting to set that whole thing up.
But can I say this too about it? It's strategic in how they're going about this. I'm always reference like my experiences though. Petrino in that Louisville offense, and I reference because I was watching my brother Nardo play there. They were strategic about playing Thursday night games because they knew to build the Louisville brand, they had to be in front of everybody else. Nobody knew about Conference USA Louisville at the time. Heupel, and whether it's his staff or whether it's Danny White, whoever's getting the credit for this, have chosen big games for this type of stuff to happen.
True.
Looking at the night game at Tennessee, the Halloween game. And then you look at LSU with the gray.
Sure.
And then here's another night game right here in South Carolina on ESPN. The brand is changing.
Right. Sorry to cut you off. The only pushback I'll give to that, too, is that it's not against traditional opponents, which I also like. I'm defending you because I like the fact that against Alabama and Florida, just wear the orange and white.
No, and of course, the biggest issue, though, is built like rebranding.
Yeah.
What does evolve to a kid that's in Carolina or Texas right now?
California, where your number one quarterback is coming in from?
Like this, it's got to look apart. That's one thing that jumped everybody on the Oregon, right, Kayla? Like,
oh, yeah. But now, like, what's crazy up there is it's like every game, you guys, they wear something different.
It's too much now.
I'm like, cool it down,
Yeah.
guys. Some of the stuff is cool, but cool it down.
I'll say this because I'm a person that, much like Keith Bullock, I think Tennessee has handled the different uniforms, color schemes, the smoky gray, the blue, the light blue, Lady Vols. I think Tennessee has done that as tastefully, and that's not a word I use often with Tennessee, as tastefully
I accept.
as any school in the country.
Yeah.
I think they have done it really, really well.
It's a tip of the cap to tradition while still understanding that having different uniforms speaks to recruits.
It matters now.
100%. Because Oregon went, and look, it was phenomenally successful for them. But Oregon's gone way too far in the
chrome
It's
helmets.
ridiculous.
The black and the pink together is
With the green pants.
with
and
the green. I was
But it's
talking
like,
to my
what
brother
is their
about this.
regular uniform now? That I can't even go back to when they played in the Pac-10 when I was in school. What their regular uniform is, I can't think about it.
Yeah. And again, for a school that has not been known for quote unquote balance much over the past 2 decades. Yeah. Look,
Ron Foster looks mad.
Hey, if he's going to take the checkered Vanderbilt shot, I'm going to take this shot.
Sure.
Because
I
I think both are
accept.
true.
I accept.
I think they've done this very, very balanced, very, very well. It hasn't been over the top.
My family are traditionalists when it comes to this stuff. And their response, my dad and my brother were like, this is honestly more Tennessee than the black is.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is more of an easier transition than the black
The
helmet
black's
is.
fine. I don't think it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I get it.
But the why of the black, it was Halloween.
Exactly.
Like, that did
Exactly.
it for me.
And that's where Danny White and his team deserve
They get it.
But
an incredible
listening-
amount of credit.
Listening to the crowd, though, too, or to the fan base, that friggin' slowed down Rocky
Slow
Top.
down Rocky
The
Top
fact
with
that
the
they
spooky
played
light
it.
It's
show.
still pretty good.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, that's.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that.
I did too.
Next, we begin hour number 4, quarter number 4 of the show on Scout Meeting Wednesday. Back into the Titans conversation with the executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Bryan. Coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Tighten up! Gas pedal!
9:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. With the Titans playing on a short week, as in tomorrow night, the team made several roster moves to help address their injury concerns. The Titans signed defensive lineman Laurel Murchison and also linebacker Joe Schobert from the practice squad. They signed defensive back Devontae Harris, kicker Josh Lambo, defensive back Greg Maben, and linebacker Andre Smith to the practice squad. They did place Caleb Farley on injured reserve. Meanwhile, on their latest injury report, the Titans listed Randy Bullock, Bud Dupree, Ben Jones, Cody Hollister, and Lonnie Johnson Jr. as did not practice. Jeffrey Simmons, Roger McCrary, also Amani Hooker were designated as limited participants. The top 5 of the college football playoffs remain unchanged. Georgia, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Michigan, 3. TCU, 4. Tennessee, 5 in the rankings. LSU bumped up to 6. USC, as in Southern California, ranked number 7. Predators defeated the Wild 2-1. UC Saros made 32 saves. Matt Duchene, a goal and an assist for the Preds. Men's college basketball, Vanderbilt defeated Temple 89-87 in overtime. To the association, Pelicans 113, Grizz 102. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Out of the blocks and off and running into hour number 4 on the Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. With the NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Big J journalist. Capitalize the J when you talk about Kayla Anderson and Jonathan Schaefer, who many say is the best producer in the world.
You know who is the best producer in the world?
Who's that? Joining us right now, the other man in the room. The executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Bryan,
the world,
stops
Craig.
by.
Yeah. The world.
Gordy. How you feel? Oh, the world.
That guy.
Rhett B, Rhett, Gordy, Rhett Gordion, Gordion.
I mean, Slay's got more nicknames for me than, you know,
Hey.
you got varieties of beef jerky at Buc-ee's.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Gordion, I think, is my favorite one.
Yeah, because so he's when I started making these intros for him, and he's Big Man's got one too. I don't use it a whole lot on the show. I'm just saying, Shafe. But
say my name.
So he says I am equivalent to Barry Gordy, the executive and Hall of Fame producer for Motown Records.
Yeah.
So then it became Gordy B instead of Rhett B, Rhett Gordy B, and then it went to Gordion.
Gordion.
So I answer to most
amazing.
anything.
Yeah, I like them all though.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You've been called worse.
But
I mean, Barry Gordy, I'm like, yeah, dude. All those Temptations and Four Tops records and Smokey and the Miracles and Marvin Gaye. Yeah. Okay, put me right there with him.
I love it.
Get you a friend that don't call you by your government name. Nicknames are always
That's true.
great.
That's true.
That's not great considering Rhett calls me William Lee by my actual name, so I guess that means I'm out.
There's love in that. There's love in that right there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kidding.
Get somebody like that.
So a little bit of breaking news this morning, Rhett, that I want to get your reaction to. Metro Nashville Public Schools announcing it will resurface all of its football fields, expand them for soccer as a part of a $15 million effort. Every school in Metro Nashville will get artificial turf thanks to $5 million from Mayor John Cooper's office, $5 million in a capital spending plan from the Fans, a nonprofit, and $5 million from the Tennessee Titans, $1 million increment spread over 5 years. A cool way for the Titans to continue to get more involved in the community the way they've
big time.
Done so over the past few years.
You know, and as you were explaining this to me, I had heard something about this now that I think about it, but it's been so many things going on with the season and the stadium announcement and all that. But I'll say this, and the Titans, I think, have always immersed themselves in the community with things they do. It seems like they're doing even more of that, just basically embracing the community. And when you talk to, CEO and president of the organization, Burke Nihill, and you hear Amy Adams Strunk, and you hear John Robinson, Mike Vrabel, their mantra, their motto is win, serve, entertain. Well, they're winning. Yeah. They're 6-3, trying to go to 7-3. The serve part is really, they are super, super involved in the serve part, and I think this speaks volumes to that. But first of all, what a great gesture by Mayor Cooper and the government to put and chip into that, and then the Titans to be generous and do that, and then the other stuff funded like that. To think that a lot of these metro schools, and I've been to several of them with T-RAC over the years doing school shows, everybody's going to get the same stuff, and it's going to be quality stuff. That's amazing. To continue investing in youth sports and not just in the places where, kids go to these private schools. They're going to have some nice things. Yeah. This is awesome.
And I have the website here for it, too, if you want to continue to be a Nashvilleian or just Middle Tennessee in general, because as Rhett, I was about to call you coach there for a second. As Rhett said, as Coach Gordy B. As much as changing around Nashville, and we hear the natives all the time, man, we're losing our city. This is moving in. We can't this. No, this is an opportunity for you. I was kind of told about this like in June, man, and
because you're a man of the people.
I'm always somewhere, Rhett. Be
yes,
like
sir.
you, baby. But wearethefans.org is the site that you can go to and donate if you want to be a part of this, too. This is there's so many athletes in this part of the state, too, and just how huge of a benefit this is, man, for kids in Metro and in Madison to be able to stay at the school that they're at and flourish for this city, man. That's super proud. I mean, you interviewed a guy recently, Kayla, basketball. You know what I'm saying? That's from the city, that's with the Cavs, that's putting on for the state the way he is, and how proud Nashvilleians are of him with what you do.
Yeah. You were going to say something.
The other thing I'm thinking is, expanding to the size so that it can have soccer. Listen, as much as I knock you about soccer all the time, I just don't, it doesn't do anything for me. I think if I go to a Nashville SC game, I'm probably like, hey, this is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
But I'm just old school. It's not for me. But encouraging youth movement in that, I think that's fantastic, because the professional side of that is growing in this town, in this market. There's no question it is. But just to see, and you touched on it, Ramon, how many athletes are coming out of this market in this area that are playing with the big boys. There's tons of them. They're going to play in the SEC or the Pac-10 or wherever, and they're getting a chance to play on Sundays or under a national spotlight. And what a better way to cultivate that and encourage that.
Yeah, the amount of kids come out of Pearl Cohn's program and what he does over there for them, and to know that now they can have nice things too.
Yep.
Yes,
I think that
it's fantastic.
It really is. And coming from a place where we didn't have private, that wasn't the thing to go to private school. That's just not how it is on the West Coast. So I don't know anything else than just public and having an equal playing field sometimes.
And I was just going to say, too, it's not a knock on the private
whatsoever.
It's
not at all.
No,
that's
I don't want anybody thinking that.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, I'm excited that public places, public schools are going to have those nice things. And I'll take it a step further. Everybody's been around ball coaches that are long tenured in high school programs. And they work tirelessly for those kids, and management of their fields and properties are a part of that. How much does this take off of them that they're going to have artificial turf to practice? I mean, this is huge in multiple ways, that being one of them.
That's a great point, too.
And I'll just say this. So I saw somebody, of course, saying, all right, so our kids going to blow out their knees on artificial turf. Okay, or your kids might not have a home game ever in the history of their high school career.
Artificial turf is a lot safer than a poorly maintained field. And I say poorly not as a knock of the people maintaining
it. But you know
them,
what it is.
But because of
they don't have the resources
they have at their disposal.
That's one less thing you have to worry
100%.
about is the price of maintaining a field, man. I don't want to steal your thunder on that one, but for opportunity to play Ugo Amadi.
Yeah.
Right?
Theo
From
Jackson.
the city. Theo Jackson. Okay? Public school kids. You know what I'm saying? That played here in these places, and I'm all on board for stuff like that, Ray. I just
Absolutely.
want to
That's a great announcement. Great. That is exciting. As much as people care about Tennessee high school football, and I do, I love it.
I do too.
This is huge. That's a great announcement.
It is. So the story, if you missed it, Mayor Cooper's office donating, but capital spending plan, $5 million earmarked to the budget. The Fans, a nonprofit, $5 million. That will be raised privately. You can go to our Twitter account at Ramon Kayla Will. We just put out the link to where you can get involved with that. And the Tennessee Titans donating $5 million, bringing every Metro Nashville public high school a new artificial turf field. So pretty cool stuff there for sure. But when we come back, we dive into Titans and Packers, the frozen tundra
of Lambeau Field.
That's right. Awaiting the Titans. We'll get Rhett Bryan's take on what worries him the most about the Packers and how healthy the Titans are going into tomorrow's matchup. That's next as you listen to Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Scout Meeting Wednesday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. Rhett Bryan in studio with us.
So when you play stuff like this, I just want to vibe for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Rhett B, you
Schaefer,
got it, man.
Spinning the hits.
Purple rain, purple rain.
I got chills watching this when he was performing it.
Talking about Super Bowl?
No.
During the movie.
The movie. I got chills. I was just like, this greatness.
Hopefully.
That whole vibe in that, too.
Yeah.
Because Morris Day was in his band as a kid.
Yeah.
And they were buddies. And he basically, there would be no Morris Day in the time without Prince and the Revolution. And to have them with, that's the rival and the competition they're in, the band competition. I hadn't seen that in a while, but I like that movie.
Well, you about to catch a flight.
There's time.
Okay.
Hopefully on Friday morning, we are opening the show with game blouses towards the Tennessee Titans.
Shout out to Chappelle.
That's
there.
right. So Rhett Bryan in studio with us, the executive producer of Titans Radio, talking about this one and the injury report yesterday for the Titans.
Which is lengthy.
It is a long one, but the positive is Jeffrey Simmons getting back on the field, which is something that he has not done in 3 weeks. Today should be telling on how he responds and how the ankle kind of talks back to him or doesn't as far as his status goes for tomorrow.
Yeah, like we talked about with Ryan Tannehill last week, and we hope that's the same thing, is that it's trending towards him playing tomorrow night in Green Bay, because when you think of this, if he's able to manage it, because he did tell us he retweaked it at the end of that Kansas City game, but you got 10 days after this before you take on Cincinnati. So maybe that's the thought process in this, is that you held him out of Denver so that he could do something here on Thursday night. And listen, I like the Titans' chances in this anyway, but I really like it if Big Jeff is a part of this, because just to see what those guys did without him, and it's going to be a war of the trenches, just because I think I looked at the forecast, 26 degrees, winds out of the west-southwest at nearly 20 miles an hour at times, and flurries. 22, saddle him up and roll, because he's had very few carries in the last 2.5, 3 games. It's time to turn the big boy loose.
And this, too, has to be that type of game, like a hostile type of game. I don't want to make it seem like war, because it's not war, but this is a battle of two teams, man. And going into Lambeau also, if y'all hadn't visited, it really is old. Like, you feel like, and it's like a coliseum of just battling, right?
Sure.
Like, you looking forward to this offensively and defensively being a battle at a place like Lambeau this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the storylines are greater than that, because you have Mike Vrabel against Matt LaFleur, who was his offensive coordinator his first year as head coach. And Mike Vrabel's going for coaching win number 50 already.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
50.
That's tough.
He's got to be in the top 10 in the league in history to be that quick to 50. And not to mention, with one less year of experience, Matt LaFleur's, he's got like 46 or 7 wins, something
and he
like
had
that.
Aaron Rodgers, right? As I can remember that?
Something like that. Yeah.
I like it, KK. The other side is the most constant call we've got, a question this week we've got, and I think all three of us, has been Chigakonkwa. Right? It's that time of the year where big boy ball is definitely upon us, man. The incorporation of him a little bit more, I would think, Red, is probably on my guy, Todd Downing's pamphlet this week.
Him and Austin Hooper both.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I want those guys to be more involved.
Yeah.
I think everybody does. And opportunity presents itself, I'm sure that'll be a thing. But, I mean, Chig is one of those, he's making things happen.
You loved him from the draft. I remember speaking about him that night.
Yeah, because he reminds me so much of Delaney and Jonnu kind of together.
Wow.
Sneaky, quick, in open space. And, big, strong hands, thick in the lowers, good, solid anchor, and just a heck of a dude.
Yeah.
I love Chig. I think he's fantastic. And I think he's somebody that they can lean on as they go down the stretch in this thing. But I'm glad that Ryan Tannehill is back so that they can open up things for Derrick Henry and do some synergy there in terms of, playing complementary football. Now, listen, this Packers defense isn't a slouch. I mean, they got players. Now, I'm just heartbroken that we won't see Rashawn Gary over there. That was a big loss for them.
Yeah,
but, their secondaries had moments where they're not that great. And, Jair Alexander, I think, is probably their better secondary piece back there. But they have formidable guys. And, I think the thing that is a little bit in favor of the Titans is, those dudes had to go to overtime with the Cowboys.
Yes, they did.
And now, one could say that the pressure's off because they snapped a 5-game losing streak. But I think if you can get on the board early, you can get that Packers crowd disinterested.
Yeah,
buddy.
I think that's big. The last time they played there didn't really have any of that crowd, so that'll be new for some of these guys. Clearly the rookies.
And that was a bad night, too.
Yeah, it was a bad
no
night.
Repeat of that.
Kevin Byard's like, we're not doing that again.
No.
Let's not go back to that.
No.
I want to talk to you about, because we know what Aaron Rodgers is, future Hall of Famer. He's not looking the best this year. They've kind of been running the ball more than we've seen in the past. What do you see out of the two guys, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? You think it's more of an A.J. Dillon type game with him being a little bit bigger back?
I think you'll see a healthy dose of both.
Okay.
And to your point, 3 out of their 4 wins, they've had a great rushing performance to help kind of be the catalyst in that. They had 207 yards as a team Sunday versus Dallas, 180 as a team versus Chicago in week 2, 199 as a team versus New England in week 4. And that's a good yin and yang combination because, Aaron Jones is good out of the backfield. He can catch the ball. He's elusive. He can do those things. And A.J. Dillon, he might not be as big as Derek, but he's pretty close.
Pretty big,
he's
yeah.
a big, powerful back that can make it go. But what's interesting is when you look at their stats, both of those guys, I want to say A.J. Dillon. First of all, Aaron Jones has over 700 yards rushing.
Yeah, he does. He's averaging
and A.J.
5.6.
Dillon has 454.
Okay.
But only 3 rushing touchdowns between the two of them. And I think what they do is when they get into the red zone, high or low area, 12 is spinning it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that,
So can you get them stopped on first and second down running things and get them, and get off the field so that you don't even get to that part?
Sure.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones got 3 receiving touchdowns. On
Right.
the other
Yes.
side.
See, there
Yes.
it is right there.
One thing I did notice was the turnover ratio with this team this year, -5.
Aaron Rodgers has 7 fumbles.
has 7.
I know.
Not taking care of the ball.
Jeffrey Simmons, DeMarcus Walker, Denico Autry, Rashad Weaver, keep going down the list. They're all going, I want a taste of that. Let's go.
Licking our
Let's
chops,
go.
huh?
Let's go. Let's just keep that train rolling. How about let's do 3 of those tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Sign me up for that.
Former Knoxville Catholic wide receiver Amari Rodgers has 5 fumbles this season, which is the most of any non-quarterback. He gets released yesterday by the Packers, but they've got issues in the special teams game as their returners have struggled. And they muffed another punt on Sunday against the Cowboys that led
Amari
to a
Rodgers,
crucial touchdown.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, and he's had issues with that throughout the year, and obviously now he's off the roster.
Right.
But yes, they have had issues in that phase, and that's another place where I feel like the Titans are a bit better because I was talking to Ryan Stonehouse yesterday about the weather in this thing, and I said, hey, who looks at that stuff for you guys now that, Brett's not here? And he said that Morgan Cox, the long snapper, is the guy that kind of looks at that stuff. And I was showing him, I had this map of the stadium, and I was showing him where the wind's going to be coming in. And I said, just familiarize
that's
yourself.
what you were talking to Stoney about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I said, so that's going to create a crosswind for you depending on which end zone you're heading towards.
Wow.
But I like that. I really like, if you think about all the special teams tackles that have happened this season. Hassan Haskins has had a couple that's really good. Joe Jones had a big one in Indianapolis. And that Dylan Cole pop shot the other day, it was like a shotgun blast. You could hear it on the radio. Like, yeah, Mama's right.
Mama.
But I feel like that's a place. Now, obviously, one of the big concerns on the injury report is Randy Bullock with a right calf. They signed Josh Lambo to the practice squad, so that tells me that may be a thing. We'll see what happens. But the good thing is if it were Josh Lambo, you've got a veteran who has experience to kind of go through that. And so really what you need Stoney, Ryan Stonehouse, or Spicoli. I think that's what Vrabel calls him from Fast Times at Ridgemont. We need him to just keep doing what he's doing. Now, those are new balls, those K balls. So he's going to be kicking a brick because it's 26 degrees. So, you've got things there. But I think that's a place where the Titans special teams unit can win that phase of the game if they keep doing what they've been doing.
You might have Lambo kicking in Lambeau.
Ooh.
Yes.
On tomorrow night.
Nice catch.
Look at William.
This Titans defense improves its streak to six consecutive games with 3 or more sacks. Franchise's longest such streak within a season since a 6-game run, Rhett, since in 1979, and the longest active streak of its kind in the NFL. You talk about this defense since week 3, only giving up 61 rushing yards per game. Unbelievable on Sunday that they continue to do it without Big Jeff in there wearing the red sleeve and T.R. Tart saying, I got you, and putting on the red sleeve and leading that defensive line.
By the way, did you notice how many guys had on the red sleeves and red cleats?
Yeah.
Just so like, our guy's not here, so we're going to represent.
And they showed us.
First thing I noticed.
I loved it. And they're going to be challenged. I mean, we talked about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon right there, and that is a formidable 1-2 punch that I feel like that's what Green Bay's going to have to lean on as they get into these months because they just don't have the offenses. And I'm not saying anything against Alan Lazard or Robert Tonyan at tight end or Christian Watson, who has emerged in this. He's the one that worries me is him because he's sneaky fast. He's big, lean, fast dude. But he's had the dropsies.
Yep.
He started that game with 2 drops and got out of favor with them earlier in the year. He dropped what would have been a 75-yard touchdown against the Vikings back several weeks ago. But he answers the bell with 4 receptions, 107, 3 touchdowns, a 58-yarders, one of those against the Cowboys in that deal. So I want to tamp that back down and let's have more of the dropsies for Christian Watson.
Yes.
Dropsies. I love it, man. Rhett B, just looking at their defense, though, like they've been giving it up, but they're tight on third down, too. Like, where is the gap in the losses and the gap in what their defense actually provides them? Because I think they're more stout. They got one of the best corners in the league, solid safeties. Preston Smith up front is pretty good. I mean, they got what you need. The young rookie out of Georgia has provided a lot for them, too. Where's the gap in what's happening with this losing Green Bay team?
Well, now, one of the dents in the armor has been poor safety play. They've had some moments where that hasn't been great. And then, some of it just comes down to gap integrity and those things. But that's what else I feel great about is this whole turnover thing that the Titans have been involved in being in the plus category and give away takeaways like that. I'm not saying they're going to walk in there and just smack them and leave, but because it's Aaron Rodgers can make that a game anytime he wants it to if he gets the right connections. But I just think this Titans team is so tough. They're just ready to roll in there and take care of business.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, if they get smacked in this one and it's a bad loss, I'll be surprised because, I mean, the nation saw them just barely get one away from one in Kansas City on primetime a little over 2 weeks ago. And they're going to see it. I think there'll be people interested in this to see what they do against a Green Bay team. And I still say the key is getting the crowd out of that thing because they're going to stay there. I mean, there's a 40-year waiting list for season tickets or whatever. But you can quiet that down. And that's what I loved about Sunday against the Broncos is, man, when that defense started eating, that crowd went crazy. They fed off. It was great to see that synergy back and forth.
What'd you think about Ryan Tannehill this past weekend? And again, the toughness showing. He said yesterday, you heard him, right? I mean, it was sore.
Yeah.
The ankle was sore. I mean, we expected that. But did you see with the opportunities he had at least making the most of them on Sunday?
If Ryan Tannehill's not in that game, they don't win that game. I mean, let's take it that far. And his toughness is very underrated and not talked about enough. This fan base got spoiled with Steve McNair years ago. This dude's tough. And I know he's hurting. It's got to be. he took off and ran for 11 yards for a first down on that last drive of the first half that, got him back into the game. You can tell the guy cares and wants to do it right. And I'm excited that Nick Westbrook-Akine is back involved in this. I want to see more off of that. I want to see Traylon Burks.
Yeah.
How about Traylon Burks gets his first 2 career touchdowns at Lambeau Field? Let's do that.
That'd be kind of cool.
But
That'd be pretty cool
I love
for
it that Tannehill is just toughing it up. And now look, that cold weather, I don't know what that does to the ankle or whatever, but I feel good. And listen, I love Malik Willis. I think he's going to be all right. He's a work in progress, but I feel great that Tannehill is in there. And I think people who have been Tannehill detractors have kind of gone, wait a minute. You know
Seen
what?
that a little.
I didn't know what we had till it was gone for 49 games. Maybe that's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And for all the talk about the protection issues, the offensive line, and the change at left tackle, Rhett, they only give up 1 sack in this game against a pretty solid Denver defensive front. And I think you got to give this offensive line credit for taking steps in these past few weeks, especially in the run game, but only giving up 1 quarterback sack, you'll certainly live with that every single week.
Yeah, and considering how poor that they have been in pass blocking grades, I think that's amazing that they're doing that. I mean, Nicholas Petit-Frere has over 200 snaps at right tackle, whatever it is. He hadn't given up a quarterback sack. Knock on wood.
Take that.
That's crazy.
That group, you know it better than anybody, Ramon. That's one of the tightest groups in the locker room.
Yeah.
Especially at that
it is.
level. You guys eat together, you talk together, you in the film room together. Yes, the other position groups are, but you guys actually hang out with one another.
Yeah.
Play pranks on one another, get to know one another, give each other a hard time, whatever.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but it's a tight group.
It is, man. It's kind of cool watching MPF kind of grow up a little bit. I'm hoping Nate gets back on track with where we saw him at the beginning of the season, man, in a sense. And I know the injury probably had him, teetering before a while. He was really holding like very high marks from PFF. But I think that public perception goes a long way when it comes down to his future moving forward and just the leadership that's necessary for sure. If I don't know what's happening with Ben Jones, but if Ben is out this week.
Yeah, and he's in concussion protocol, and that is the other big one to watch. So Jeff, kicker Randy Bullock, and him at center as the anchor of this thing, those are the ones to watch as the injury report comes out this afternoon. And, the team will be on their way to Green Bay. Those are the ones that are pivotal pieces in this that you've got to see, all right, how are they going to do this? What are they going to do if some of them are not available?
Yeah, and that's got to be hard for Ben if he's not available. It would be his only second game in his football career that he would miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine being Ben, just the way that he is
High
a
school,
competitor.
college.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, like you said, what happened. The biggest question to me, like, what's your gear for Thursday? What's your gear? Your what are you bundled up in? Like, what are you bringing?
I've got, a nice warm pair of pants, and I've got layers for upper, and then I've got a coat. And,
You do the stocking cap?
No, I won't do the stocking cap
Okay.
because I've got the headphones on all the time.
Right. I liked all the guys in the stocking caps yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Vols keep
Fun.
putting out these uniform reveals. We keep asking reporters, like, what are you wearing?
What are you
to the
wearing?
game? Are you
Yeah.
also going to do one? So,
But no, I'll be fine. We got plenty of hand warmers, foot warmers, and because anybody knows the windows are open.
That's
when
what
we
I
do
was
the
going to say,
broadcast.
yeah.
Now I'll be back in the second tier, closer to the back door, so it won't be as cold where I am. But I'll be prepared. I got to make sure. I always try to make sure that we take care of Amy Wells.
Yep.
Because I don't want her to get
I
too
feel
cold.
it.
But
Down there on the field. Whew.
Yep.
well, it's going to be a fun one. Titans Countdown, an extended version, once again, for prime time. Rhett at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
With myself and the aforementioned Amy Wells.
That's
yes.
right. Looking forward to that. Safe travels to Green Bay, and we will hear from you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Coming up, we finish up the show with a little bit of midweek motivation. Inky Johnson sends you on your way at Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. One final segment of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
And
Conquo. Yes. We're going to make this a thing if it's the last thing we do.
And Conquo. And Conquo.
It's not even, okay.
And Conquo.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Coming up in just a moment, Inky Johnson, Midweek Motivation.
Yeah.
Will send us on our way. And after we are finished, the Buck Rising Show, Mike Giardi of NFL Network, The Dumbest Thing in Sports, which I'm sure Jonathan Schaefer has already replied, your mom, on Twitter to Buck's tweet. And Vanderbilt quarterback Mike Wright today on the Buck Rising Show at 12:20.
Shout out to Mike.
I'm sorry, but I'm tuning in for that.
No, I am
Man, I
too.
love Mike Wright.
I'll tell you what.
He's great.
You know the orange tinted glasses that I was born with, but that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
He is.
He is the perfect representation for Vanderbilt athletics, for Vanderbilt football, and what Clark Lee wants that program to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he battled back after his job was taken away from him for a couple weeks. Good for him.
Yep.
Having the performance that he did against Kentucky to get the win.
But you love when they come back.
Man.
Yeah.
But I think in meeting him, and actually Hendon Hooker put on his Instagram story when he was named co-offensive player of the week of the SEC with Hendon, a congrats to Mike Wright and said, let him know, and tagged Mike Wright on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
They were roommates at the Manning Passing Academy together. So those two guys are really good friends. And I think keep in touch. And certainly I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch next week. But Mike Wright's parents are UT people. But he won't say Tennessee. He says that orange team. Every time he talks about Tennessee.
It's like the Buckeyes. When it comes to Michigan, that team up north, I mean, none of them will say Michigan.
That's right.
I could just call his dad, but
Oh, he went there.
It's football season.
I wasn't going to say it, but there it is.
Football season. I can be this way.
I'll tell you what, though, for all the and I'm honest in saying this, that for all the crap that we give Vanderbilt and the Checker Vandy stuff and the UT diplomas that hang, I don't know where mine is, but that hang on our walls, people that are from this city and love this city as much as we do and respect it, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah.
Like I really am, and I know that probably sounds cliche and to say, but those of us that are from here and born and raised here, that there's an extra love for people that represent this place in the right way. Mike Wright represents the city of Nashville in the right way.
Yeah, I'm
in
happy.
the way he carries himself and the way he just interacts as the quarterback of Vandy.
I hope he stays and keep doing what he's doing, man. I hope they don't beat us, but I like to see him succeed. Of course, knowing his dad, as you said, he's a UT guy.
Yeah.
His dad was same chapter frat, so
yeah.
He spoke about highly of his kid, and to see his kid just kind of persevere. It's so easy to leave these days, Will, right? Kayla, you've transfer portal. I'm gone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gone, but stuck it through, man.
Appreciate Rhett Bryan. Appreciate Ben McKee hanging out with us today. We are back at it tomorrow morning on a game day edition of the show. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, Tyler Dunn of GoLongTD.com, much, much more. But as we do every Wednesday, we finish off with our guy, bringing another VFL into the mix here for some midweek motivation. Inky Johnson joins us. What's going on, Inky? Good morning.
Hey.
What's up, Ink?
What's going on? Good people. How y'all doing?
We're great, man.
Good. Hank, loved your tweet, man, about youth sports and parents and all that the other day, man. You know that's where I live at, man.
Come on, man. Come on. We gotta address it. And even me, I'm a part of it just in terms of the culture of just being better.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's something that I want to touch on this morning. Right? Like being the reason that people believe in the goodness of humans. Right? Like be the reason that somebody believes in the goodness of humans, right? Because there's a quote that says, everybody we meet is fighting a battle that we know nothing about. And so when we talk about greatness, when we talk about excellence, whatever the words may be, and then you talk about young people or just people in general, people are always watching, not so much about what we're doing, right? Because people do things a certain way, but people are watching oftentimes our response to certain things. And so I want to share this definition of greatness, right? And there's a lot of definitions out there about greatness, but this one stuck with me in particular. It says greatness is contributing more to the world than you took from it. And so I'll never forget, man, when I was a senior in high school, I got invited to an all-star football game. And I had to take a flight. And it was my first time getting on a plane, right? I had never been on a plane. I was terrified. I was thinking about it, you know, like all day. And somebody had got me a buddy pass, right? Somebody got me a buddy pass, and I had to go to this airport because I was leaving a basketball tournament. They was like, Ink, you got to get on the plane, and nobody was going with me. And I had this buddy pass, so I'm terrified. And so I end up getting to the airport. I get on the plane, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm talking about, like, I can't sit still. I'm getting up, right? I'm looking out of the window. I'm anxious, like I'm just panicking, right? And so I see the restroom. I'm like, man, I'm going to go in the restroom, maybe wash my face, put a little water on my face, try to pull myself together. And so I go into the restroom, right? And I'll never forget it, right? I'm in there. I put a little water on my face. I'm drying my hands. And as I'm going out, I see a sign. And the sign was sitting there, it was on the wall, and it said, as common courtesy to the person that's coming behind you, can you wipe the sink out and leave it better than you found it? It said, as common courtesy to the person that's coming behind you, can you wipe the sink out and leave it better than you found it, right? And from that day forward, everything I touched, everything I was privileged to do, everything I was a part of, I made a vow to myself that I wanted to go on a quest to leave it better than I found it. And so in everything we touch and everything we're a part of, man, let's be sure to make an effort to leave it better than we found it. Greatness is contributing more to the world than you took from it. Go be great.